song. Amazing, yeah. Front and the back looking crazy. I know that you're thinking what I'm thinking. Why you look this good, baby? All to myself, I'm selfish. Around you, I can't help it. You ain't no one else's. You ain't no one else's, yeah. Wondering how did you get here? Taking me for a ride. You came in so unexpected. You make me feel like a love song. Play this when you love song. Your love song. Drowning when you jump on, yeah. Dying to come see what you do to me. A love song. Play this when you love song. Amazing, yeah. Girl, you so fun, I would pay it. Killing them selfies, she's slaying. All in my head, it keep playing, yeah. Keeping this real, no faking. She wants something solid. If I'm being honest, girl, I think we got it. Oh, wondering how did you get here? Taking me for a ride. You came in so unexpected. You make me feel like a love song. Play this when you love song. Your love song. Drowning when you jump on, yeah. Dying to come see what you do to me. A love song. Play this when you love song.
Yo, yo.
Gotta get
What's up, good people? If you didn't tune in to the last I Said What I Said, here's what you missed. This legendary journalist, man, his list of accomplishments goes on and on. He's an author, a brother. He is someone that, for me, I've looked up to literally since I was about 11 or 12 years old. And this was really before I knew his name. I mean, I knew what Slam Magazine was. That's kind of what you did as a shorty. But I didn't even know that he wrote for it, right? And I had read plenty of his articles, but I didn't know that the dude who I saw every morning on my way to school was Scoop Jackson. Eastside crazy, man. So, and growing up over there where I grew up, there wasn't a whole lot of positive male representation. I would walk down the block past his house every morning. I would see him coming out of his driveway, right? He had this coldest truck, black Pathfinder, if I recall. I would see him, and he would always just take a couple minutes to chop it up, and it would just be me or, a couple of my guys just walking to school. And again, over there wasn't a whole lot of representation of positive black males. I don't know that you were aware of the difference that you were making on us at the time.
I don't want to say I don't believe in the concept of giving back. I feel if you give back, that means that you left. So my whole purpose in never leaving the same neighborhood I came up in is that I never gave back. You just give. I would hope that I would have impact on what your everyday lives were. I could be the one dude in the neighborhood that stopped and spoke to you, which I think is really important.
Yeah.
Because young individuals in black neighborhoods, especially young men, get ignored very quickly.
All the time.
They get dismissed. Right. They get minimized. And the one thing, I still do it to this day. Say what's up to everybody, especially young brothers, because we have a tendency not to acknowledge one another. And I've never lived that life. My hope was that, us having the small time and me just being there and you all, just developing a relationship with me and me developing a relationship with you would have at least a small impact on you. It would give you there's some decent people around me. There's something I can look forward to maybe. If I don't have anybody else in this neighborhood that I can talk to that can identify with me, right, I can ring Scoop's doorbell. You got a good memory. It was a black Pathfinder too. You good.
Coldest truck I had seen. I was like, yo, that's raw. Cuz ballin'. I said what I said. Urban 2, right here on What's in It for the Black People Media.
Shop at Black-owned and operated Solo Beauty, where you are appreciated and respected. Located at 8158 South Cottage Grove, Solo Beauty can supply all of your black hair care needs. Solo Beauty is open from 11 a.m. to 8 p.m., Tuesday through Saturday.
You are listening to the most dangerous show in the morning. This is What's in It for the Black People Radio. Maze Jackson, the most vociferous advocate for black people in the world.
For Ruthie Moore, for Todd Stroger, I am the host of the Maze Jackson Show, asking every single day, what's in it for the black people? And if you don't like it, you can still tell them Maze said, Mayor Lightfoot, man, we ain't accepting that. We ain't accepting that. Let's go. Yeah.
Let's get down to business and go ahead and address the facts, man. Lightfoot seems more lesbian than black. Rahm Emanuel's another case. He was just as tired. 50 closed schools left much to be desired. Police had Anjanette naked on that body cam. They suppressed the footage so it couldn't touch a lot of hands. Reminds me of that 16 shots in that cover-up. Both of them similar, so I went and dug it up. George Floyd killed, a lot of riots happened in the town. Southside burned and they wouldn't let them bridges down. Grandmother sick, need a prescription and plus a couple groceries. You gon' have to travel just to get it now. COVID-19 out here shutting all the business down. Not enough SBA loans to even give around. So many failed businesses that you could put them in the pile. If you don't survive the pandemic, it's gonna sit you down. We sing, dance, play ball, entertain, and crack jokes. Government infested black neighborhoods with crack smoke. System that milked us so bad, we got lactose. Still trying to find out what's in it for us black folks. We sing, dance, play ball, entertain, and crack jokes. Government infested black neighborhoods with crack smoke. System that milked us so bad, we got lactose. Still trying to find out what's in it for us black folks. Shout out to Willie Wilson, hope one day you get to send it. We need some different players in the game to handle business. Too many shady characters like Madigan and Blago. But when you really break it down, it's typical Chicago. City full of gangsters, it's what the land was built on. Same streets with hood legends, DNA get spilled on. Carjackers out here lurking, trying to get they steal on. Looking for a block to put them Hellcat wheels on. Lenders give bogus appraisals a red line. Car crackers out here getting minimal fair time. And I'm concealed carry, I stay with the pipe. But Illinois gun laws giving minimal rights. Stay up on the swivel, make sure I'm moving tight. Check all of my mirrors when I pull up to the light. Pick my homie up from out of town, man, he caught a flight. He was hella nervous, told him, shorty, this a way of life. We sing, dance, play ball, entertain, and crack jokes. Government infested black neighborhoods with crack smoke. System that milked us so bad, we got lactose. Still trying to find out what's in it for us black folks. We sing, dance, play ball, entertain, and crack jokes. Government infested black neighborhoods with crack smoke. System that milked us so bad, we got lactose. Still trying to find out what's in it for us black folks.
That plugged in? Good morning, everybody.
Hello, I can hear. Externally.
Testing. I'm good.
I'm not.
Good morning, everybody.
So I can hear it somewhere. Yeah, obviously it's picking up something. My headphones? My headphones?
Testing. 1, 2, 3.
The Maze Jackson Show will be back after this break.
If I tell them to blow, I keep that metal close. That's how we ride in Chicago.
Alderman Lopez, welcome back to the Maze Jackson Show. The mayor has a very peculiar way she's dealing with this, and I'm trying to understand, why does it seem like we're handling this with kid gloves?
The reason that she's not going after the root cause, which is gangs, the reason she's not calling out the silent enablers, as I tweeted out the other day, is because those are many of the same people that she relied on to get elected. I'm talking about the not-for-profits, those that reach out for grants and try to be the intermediaries in a community to try and bridge some of these anti-violence groups, things of that nature. These organizations that say they're trying to build bridges oftentimes are the ones that are enabling the gang lifestyle and allowing it to go unchecked and not holding accountable the individuals causing the violence in the neighborhoods. Those same partners, which she funds, which she relies on, were unceremoniously all pimping themselves out at a press conference.
Ooh.
Saying nobody said a word about gangs, but what they did say is that we need more money for the programs that we offer to help stop the violence. And clearly for more money to go to organizations that are working against the residents of the city of Chicago.
Alderman, how did y'all approve $37 million to go to one ward for violence prevention? $37 million? I don't think there's been a $37 million investment in anything black.
When these amendments to the budget and when these programs come before us, and I've asked the last time that these were proposed by the administration, what metrics are we using to ensure that everyone with their hand out was not still enabling gangbangers in the middle of the night? And oftentimes have intervened on behalf of gangbangers, particularly in the Latino community. When you see in other communities, like the black community, when you start doling out contracts to, say, Metropolitan Family Services, and now they're responsible for doling out to organizations to come into neighborhoods like
Sissy's Taco Bar Pop-Up is back with more hours and more days. Check them out at their new pop-up location at the Woodlawn, located 1200 East 79th Street. Sissy's Taco Bar offers authentic street tacos infused with international soul. Now every Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday at the Woodlawn from 12 p.m. to 7 p.m. New vegan tacos have been added to the menu too. Visit sissytacobar.com for more info.
Well, that was loud. Oh, I can hear.
Introducing your trusted source for high-quality black emojis, better known as Blackmoji. We believe black is beautiful, and that beauty should be reflected in the digital market. Now there is an app that does just that, starting with Black Greek letter organizations. Blackmoji D9 offers more than an emoji app. It is a cultural experience of black excellence. Download the app in the Apple or Google Play Store to access a specially curated catalog of emojis representing the Divine Nine. Use the emojis to celebrate Black Greek events, acknowledge current events, support social causes, and learn about esteemed Black Greek members who blaze the trail of Black history. A portion of every subscription goes toward a scholarship fund specifically for members of Black Greek letter organizations to help keep the legacy alive. Download the Blackmoji app today.
You are listening to the most dangerous show in the morning. This is What's in It for the Black People Radio. Maze Jackson. Maze Jackson, the most vociferous advocate for black people in the world.
For Ruthie Moore, for Todd Stroger, I am the host of the Maze Jackson Show, asking every single day, what's in it for the black people? And if you don't like it, you can still tell them Maze said, Mayor Lightfoot, man, we ain't accepting that. We ain't accepting that. Let's go. Yeah.
Let's get down to business and go ahead and address the facts, man. Lightfoot seems more lesbian than black. Rahm Emanuel's another case, he was just as tired. 50 closed schools left much to be desired. Police had Anjanette naked on that body cam. They suppressed the footage so it couldn't touch a lot of hands. Reminds me of that 16 shots in that cover-up. Both of them similar, so I went and dug it up. George Floyd killed, a lot of riots happened in the town. Southside burned and they wouldn't let them bridges down. Grandmother sick, need a prescription and plus a couple groceries. You gon' have to travel just to get it now. COVID-19 out here shutting all the business down. Not enough SBA loans to even give around. So many failed businesses that you could put them in the pile. If you don't survive the pandemic, it's gonna sit you down. We sing, dance, play ball, entertain, and crack jokes. Government infested black neighborhoods with crack smoke. System to milk is so bad, we got lactose. Still trying to find out what's in it for us black folks. We sing, dance, play ball, entertain, and crack jokes. Government infested black neighborhoods with crack smoke. System to milk is so bad, we got lactose. Still trying to find out what's in it for us black folks. Shout out to Willie Wilson, hope one day you get to send it. We need some different players in the game to handle business. Too many shady characters like Madigan and Blago. But when you really break it down, it's typical Chicago. City full of gangsters, it's what the land was built on. Same streets with hood legends, DNA get spilled on. Carjackers out here lurking, trying to get they steal on. Looking for a block to put them Hellcat wheels on. Let us give bogus appraisals a red line. Car crackers out here getting minimal fair time. And I'm concealed carry, I stay with the pipe. But Illinois gun laws giving minimal rights. Stay up on the swivel, make sure I'm moving tight. Check all of my mirrors when I pull up to the light. Pick my homie up from out of town, man, he caught a flight. He was hella nervous, told him, shorty, this a way of life. We sing, dance, play ball, entertain, and crack jokes. Government infested black neighborhoods with crack smoke. System to milk is so bad, we got lactose. Still trying to find out what's in it for us black folks. We sing, dance, play ball, entertain, and crack jokes. Government infested black neighborhoods with crack smoke. System to milk is so bad, we got lactose. Still trying to find out what's in it for us black folks.
Wake up, Chicago! Wake up, world! There it go. There it go. We got it right now. I was like, I did my scream and holler. You didn't hear me? What'd you say?
I said I didn't touch nothing.
I didn't say you did. I just figured like, when I don't get my kick it up.
Hoodie on. I see you.
I'm trying to do my thing. It's the Maze Jackson Show. Let me do this because we got a lot going on this morning. Been running around here trying to reset the studio, resetting the studio, and we got a big. Well, I don't want to call him a big guest. I'm gonna just say we got a good get today. I can't wait for the conversation. John Cantanzara, president of the FOP, will be in the building today. So we're going to sit down. We're going to have a real conversation. I don't expect to do too much screaming and yelling. I want to get some understandings going on around these parts. But I got a lot of questions. I know Ruthie Moore has got some. I'm surprised, Todd. I'm surprised you showed up, man. We yesterday you said you might not make it. I see you got your black and gold on. Who you representing? The Alpha Phi Alphas? Huh?
I see you got my goal on too.
Nah, this is my goal. You got wait, this is what I call yellow. So if you calling is yours yellow? That's old gold. Are you representing the alphas or are you representing XU?
First, I think you should stick to blue, but I'm representing both.
You're representing both? Okay. All right. I see you, Todd. We called you yesterday, man. You ain't returned our call. I don't appreciate that. You know.
You called
hey,
me?
Man.
Dang, you starting to sound like my wife.
Hey, nah, I don't, hey, dog. Okay. I'm going to just tell you. You had an executive call yesterday, and you didn't answer it. That's kind of crazy, man. Can't have me.
See, this is what
you can't have me out here hollering.
This is what I hate about the world right now.
What?
People think that everyone is just a second away.
No,
it's hard to be a second away.
It's okay. Okay.
Yeah, you can't really get to me.
You know what? It's okay. It's all
really
good.
Pick up. Unless it's you, Mr. President.
Oh, dang.
I mean,
don't try and clean it up. Nah, don't try and clean it up now. You was like, just tired.
There are some sacrifices to waking up at 4 o'clock, though.
I can imagine. I said that, though. I said he is probably asleep. But I'm going to tell you what. Next time, pick up the phone, dude. Pick up the phone.
You know, my biggest problem is I forget to turn the ringer on after I leave here.
You know what? I ain't going to even lie to you. My ringer is off all the time, and I'll pick up. I'll be running around here, and I'll look up. It'll be like 7 missed calls or something like that, and people be like, ah, and I'll be like, I'm so sorry.
Yeah,
I apologize. All right, Miss Ruthie Moore.
What up, everybody?
Yeah.
Good morning.
How could I tell you?
Morning.
So I went through the comments yesterday, and people didn't think Ruthie was coming back because she was going to hit you with the Inspector Gadget tie. I was like, look in the sleeve. I was waiting for you to look in the sleeve. I just wanted you to look in the sleeve one time. So like, pow!
I was reading the comments as we were talking, and they were very, you go Ruthie, but I didn't see anything about violence.
I think we all wanted to beat you up yesterday. I think everybody wanted to commit some violent acts on you. But then somebody said, you know, like the eternal optimist, the eternal optimist, President Steele said, it's got to be some scary people that's going to use the phone to call to get the people off. So I was like, she was like, everybody has a role. And she said, so let just Todd be the phone call dude, right? Just know that he going to call the police while we trying to get, and let's just let that be. So I said, you know what? Everybody got a role. I'm going to accept your role. Ruthie, when it comes,
I'm
you
done. I'm dropping out.
You come with me.
I'm out of the fight. I'm gonna go marry me a white man.
No!
And move to the North Shore.
Oh no!
I quit. I'm done.
You breaking my heart. You breaking my heart. All right.
And Ruthie, first you have to start in Hyde Park. Then you're like, I need to move to the North Shore now.
Ruthie done upscale. Ruthie started at DePaul. So you got to remember, Ruthie is already in the North Shore version. You got the University of Chicago got the south half of the city. DePaul got the north half of the city. And you know, Ruthie got a hockey jersey. So she's straight. She already know what to do. All right, y'all. Let me say what's up to Sonia Escobar in the building. How you feeling, Escobar?
Good morning.
All right, well, it's good. I'm glad you're good. No camera for Sonia today because we had the set so we could be ready to move around.
Oh, right.
But you know what? We Jimmy rigged it today. So y'all, I'm gonna tell y'all. So, Ruthie, you're gonna have to come on this side of the glass a little bit later. We're gonna put John on that side of the glass, and this is collective.
Why he couldn't be virtual? Why he couldn't be virtual?
Oh, you want because
we in the pandemic.
Dang, Ruthie, I didn't even.
I'm just saying. Y'all think he anti-masker?
Is he anti-masker?
I don't know.
I think Ruthie's like, he seems like he'd be the guy who would be an anti-masker.
Ask him that. I'm gonna have to ask him. We can spray it down. We can spray. I get the microban and all that stuff, and we'll be straight. And Ruthie, we could put you on that side. Then it'd be like a straight 6, and then we make it work. And Todd,
he gonna try to put you at the kids' table, Ruthie.
Todd, first of all, Ruthie's taller than you, so you be at the kids' table. All right, y'all. It's like we all locked and loaded. So let's
wait.
Huh?
There's more dessert at the kids' table. I'm all right with that, actually.
All right, they got the rice. They usually get the Rice Krispie treats, which are the best treats.
Ooh, the infused ones.
Oh, see, there you go. I always try to take it. I didn't even have no infused. I did have some infused Rice Krispie treats. Those are pretty good. All right, they was actually Fruity Pebbles. But look, let's do this. That was my cousin, not me, my cousin. All right, y'all, let's do this. Let's get the soul plane up to 6,000 feet. Let's go up and away. Let me run through some of these headlines. First of all, did you see Ed Burke is back on the front page of the paper? I think Ed Burke is the anti-Madigan.
What's that?
I will not go quietly into the sunset.
Oh.
He is the anti-Madigan. He like, y'all gonna have to take me all the way out. And I think they tried to embarrass him yesterday by saying that. Okay, so I don't know if I'm allowed to repeat the headline.
It's news. You're reporting news.
Okay, so I'm reporting the headline that the feds released a 200-page document yesterday in which Ed Burke was overheard on a wiretap saying Jews do business. We know Jews only do business with Jews, and they called that anti-Semitic. And they were saying,
I saw that,
and they said that they were only going to so because Jews would only do business with Jews unless they needed you. He was going to give them city business so he could get business. Now, I get the criminal part of that, and we're going to break all of that piece of it down because I really haven't had the chance to read the 200-page document, but I just understood that part, so I was going to break that down.
That's interesting.
I felt like that's not really – I don't feel like that's
reachy.
I don't feel like that's anti-Semitic.
No, because actually I've heard somebody actually say that to me who was Jewish.
Yeah. Right, no, I've lived it.
Yeah.
I mean, I think we've all lived it. And so I don't think – and I think that I feel like, so I got to ask, and I don't know if is the word, I don't know what the anti is in that.
I think if you just add the word
money,
Jewish.
ISH-ish in people, it makes it a little
Jewish
bit more
people.
palatable to people.
Okay, I'm going to just tell you, talking on the phone with my guy. Remember JB and Rod talking on their draws? On the phone, on the couch, eating popcorn, talk about the least y'all gave away the least offensive Negro. Anyway, we're gonna talk about that because I want to just talk about it. Also, Cook County to resume the Johnson & Johnson vaccine ASAP. I realize it's only 6 cases, but the TV put so many. The TV put it on like it was 70 million of them. So it's like you scared like that. I'd be like if you take the Johnson & Johnson, somebody gonna be like, people gonna be like, that's gonna super inflate all of the conspiracy theories or truth or rumor. It's gonna exacerbate the vaccine hesitancy.
Right.
I'm never scared. Ever. Ever a day in my life. Ever. All right. CPS returns to 5 days a week next year. You see that? I said we're the COVID is now the flu. COVID is the new flu because we rolling with it now. At this point, they like get your butt on out there. We gonna go. You gotta get your vaccine, and that's just gonna be the end of it. And they're not gonna stop. I think they need to just start.
Isn't that 4 months away? Is that 4?
What?
The next semester that starts. I mean, the next year.
Yeah,
the fall. Year.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, 4 months. But I still think
I got an email that I have to be on campus.
No matter what, though, they like. I just feel like no matter what, I think they're gonna stop putting that stuff on TV and telling you how many people die every day, and we're gonna roll because nobody would know the difference if they didn't, except in your house.
I don't know. It's like when the guys were in Iran. I mean, what was that? I forgot the world news. Whatever.
Jesus, man, they counted every day. I remember that. Every single. It was how many years was that? I mean, that's why I'm still scared of Iran to this day. Not scared, but did I say scared?
Ooh.
You got me. You got me. Nervous
war?
about Iran.
Oh.
Nervous.
So one thing to be scared of war.
No, but
right.
It made me nervous. Iran. I think about that to this. I mean, when they say Iran, all I could think of is that guy with the Band-Aids wrapped around his face, his head, and it was like I just couldn't imagine being a hostage all them years. Did you see that movie?
Argo. Did you see Argo?
Yeah, that was great. Did you see Argo?
That was great.
Oh, yes, it was.
Did you see it, Ruthie?
Mm-mm.
The one when they escaped from Iran and they act like they was making a movie?
I heard about it.
It was good.
Did it win some awards?
Did it? I did. I think it did. It was good. It was. I was Ben Affleck and they was doing their thing. Man, you gotta watch.
But everybody didn't get away. I mean, before they got the people, everybody didn't get to the other embassy. So I mean, still a sad story in itself.
They forgot. I didn't even know they didn't make it. I just remember the ones that got out. Man, I just remember them being on the plane like, please, get on the plane. I ain't never rooted for I was rooting for the white people.
It was a compelling story.
I should have been. Some days I be feeling like I should have been rooting for, like, sitting here. Some days I be feeling like, should I have been rooting for the Iranians or something? I don't know where I'm supposed to fit these days in some of these conversations.
You know, the way I see that is like, they were like, okay, you guys want us to go? We're going. They're like, no, why don't you stay?
America.
We've decided you're more valuable in the basement.
Yeah.
All right. Did you see the Cardinal checks out Saint Sabina? The Cardinal Kupich has checked Saint Sabina, says stop with the intimidating tactics or he gonna send Father Flaga's case to another diocese and they gonna start all over. They like, hurry up, speed it up, get it cracking.
They need their money.
No, I think the Cardinal needs to flex a little muscle. And they probably still do pretty well.
The Cardinal and them need Saint Sabina's money.
100 stacks.
No, they don't need it.
They need it.
100 stacks a month.
I mean, it's nice.
So go ahead, say they don't need it again.
They don't need it.
Okay.
They just close another church. That's all good. They don't.
They
could close another one, Ruthie. That's all I'm saying. They close. Saint Sabina could close. There'll be another 100 stacks less. Then they got to sell the church. Then the next. Okay, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, you're lying.
Tell me. Todd, tell us why they don't need the money. Well, nobody needs $100,000 a month.
I was just about to tell you, but you're talking over me.
Okay, go ahead.
Ooh, that's me being mean. They sold that piece of land across the street for like millions of dollars. They're gonna be set for a while.
Not if another kid come out. I mean,
I don't know how the liability works.
One kid could take away. I mean, you think about it, they done spent billions of dollars. One kid could get the whole. Man, don't get me started. All right, I'm gonna let that be because I don't want y'all.
I don't know who pays for that.
You do.
Does each diocese pay for their own, or is there a bigger fund?
No, they probably chip in from all of the money that they stole from the natives from all the lands, and then they just say take the money from.
They don't do that. The Pope has that.
Oh,
he ain't giving that up.
Can I tell you some irony? Father Larry Sullivan, he's the head priest at Christ the King. You know, that's the school my son went to. My son sent me a TikTok on Sunday and said, "Hey, Dad, did you know that Father Larry got accused of sexual abuse?" And I was like, "Oh my God!" Right? What was ironic about it?
Did your son have any stories about him?
No, I did though.
You do.
I felt like when we went to DC and I sat next to him and I talked to him, and I was like, "This dude's not right." And the funny thing was, though, it wasn't that he was accused of harassing a young boy. He was on his way to the seminary, apparently, and a young lady, him and a friend, attacked the young lady in the dumpster on the day before he was going to the seminary.
Attacked the lady in a dumpster? Is that what
They were at the restaurant. She was closing. They stayed till the end of close, and then when she went to take out the garbage, they followed her outside. And followed her into the dumpster area and was like, "Come on, baby, let's have a little fun." She fought them off, apparently, but it was a TikTok, and my son sent it to me on the TikTok, and now it's on the news. And I was just thinking what the irony of it was that he was the dude who led there were two incidents there was like a giant Catholic incident, and then there was another incident, and not an incident. You know how you got to take the class when you first start at the school so that you can interact with the kids? Right. He taught the class about the abuse.
Yeah, but I bet this is going to be hard to prove.
Yeah, I don't doubt it's hard to prove, but he resigned. He stepped down for the investigation. I'm suggesting that I just thought the irony of it was he taught me the class. He gave us the class at the place, and it's like, here he is. City Council. First time in a year, the mayor was going around hugging the people that would hug her.
Yeah, right. Some people
like,
wait,
hold it. I don't want to be
at
on
least 3 feet.
Right. I was like, what are y'all talking about? Mayor Trump is hinting at fake media, fake news. She is. No, I'm just saying. Did you see? She told the press like when they asked about David Brown. Okay, so let's be clear. The worst kept secret in the world is that David Brown wants out. Like that's the superintendent, right? The guy nobody's seen in the last 6 months. He wants to be out. It's
that's
like
a good
what?
paycheck, man.
It's a what? I mean, but she can't now because of the rumors. He can't go. So now he got to buy a rock, and he's just like, I'll stay, but I ain't going nowhere. Right? I'm not sure. Nope, I won't be there. And now she's saying, well, he'll be here forever. And why are you guys you're supposed to report the news, but you're like fake. She's almost calling them fake news.
I mean, I understand her. After being in her spot, I understand what you're saying.
She lies though. You didn't lie. You just weren't a good person. Remember that woman, Anjanette Young? You just weren't a good politician.
Yeah, but she is right.
Fake news. when it was Trump.
No, what I'm saying is we expect certain things out of certain papers. So, people, when they look at, what is the New York Post?
Times.
The New York Times, is that no, not New York Times.
Oh, the Post.
Yeah, the Post. They expect to see some.
Yeah, bang, zoom, pow.
Right. But when they read the Chicago Tribune, they're like, that's like the gospel. I actually believe it. So I guess it's not like that anymore.
But let's just be clear. But their job is to kind of chase down stories. And why not ask from the horse's mouth? So instead, they didn't report on the rumor. They said, is he still the superintendent? Right? He didn't show up. I mean, he has been absent from almost every major event that has happened. Like, literally. Like, you really have not seen the chief of police at all. And so I think it's a legitimate question that we have the highest murder rate in 30 years, that we got the most worst everything in the crime space. And now you saying we can't ask, he's not been present.
No, I agree with you. I mean, they can ask that question.
Wait, what did you just
No.
So now that's the fake news?
No, there's a bigger picture. I'm not talking about this question. I think there's a bigger picture, and I think sometimes they're like, well, let's just run with this because we know people will read the newspaper.
I got you.
I read good.
And I was this just caught my eye, and then we're gonna move on. We're gonna take a break, and then we'll come back with the social media question of the day. But remember I told y'all about the Super Bowl, and 10 companies made $45 million in one day. Right? Remember that?
Yes.
According to an NBA player, according to Charles Barkley, he was talking to an NFL owner or an NBA owner, one of the two.
Some billionaire, huh?
But basically, he said, right. But he said, basically, they have said that now with sports betting, they won't even need TV money.
Really?
Like the TV money is chump change. That's just chump change. I was just thinking about that as I want to point out that
that TV money is actually what
makes everything go.
Yes. I mean, that's how these guys get these exorbitant salaries.
Yes, that's right. That's how baseball players who have 7 people in the stands get paid hundreds of millions of. I mean, I'm saying baseball contract. I'd be like, how do baseball players get paid? Right? Like, seriously. Like, really.
All those games. Too.
All of them, 180-something games. Well, I guess if you play all them games, if you divide it up. But it's hard to make that much money with, like, if you ain't Wrigley Field. Like, I just be thinking, like, the Sox. No shade, I'm a big Sox fan, but
I hear you.
I'd be like,
yes.
Where is everybody? I'd be like, it's already socially distant at the White Sox thing. Like,
maybe the people that go pay a premium, so they make up for it.
Not at the White Sox.
No, not us, because we gonna get we ain't trying to pay, but it's probably people that actually go and they bring their family of 4 and they sit in a really nice seats behind home plate, and so they make up for it.
I don't know. I was gonna say some of it, but I just don't know if it, like, if you think about that compared to like Yankee Stadium.
And you remember the Sox, they always got those, you bring a can of Coke, you get $20 off. I got all kind of
look, it's crazy. I heard LeRon talking, and he said that you could go to one of the white restaurants, and if you order the buffet, they give you a White Sox ticket and a free ride there and back.
Free ride.
I'm not tripping because I was like, how can I get that deal?
I was thinking, man, you're smart, LeRon.
But I was also gonna say that I think that one of the things I plan to do this summer is to, when they open up, is to go to the park for dinner. Right? Like, they have the best food the Bigs talked about that too. They got the best food at White Sox Park.
So how does that work?
So you just go walk around the like, if you walk around, like, they got every major restaurant. I think they even got a Gibson's, Joe, and you can get like filet mignon.
No, I mean, like, you buy a baseball ticket?
Yeah, you buy a ticket and then you go. But the tickets are like $9, $10. So you can buy a ticket and then go get and sit at the park and sit outside, and then when you're ready to go, just go.
I love baseball.
I don't. Anyway,
it's a nice family thing for us. We do
it. It's a good time.
It's a good, depending. It can be economical, especially with the White Sox. I think we got to do some more White Sox stuff. Anyway, all right, y'all. It's the Mace Jackson Show. I just thought that they're going to make all that money and there's still nobody black. In the Mace Jackson Show, we'll be back after these messages.
The Mace Jackson Show will be back after this break.
The Chicago Legal Network is the collaboration of attorneys that concentrate in many areas of the law most needed in Chicago neighborhoods. The CLN lawyers focus on personal injury, criminal defense, and other issues. The CLN lawyers all average over 20 years of legal experience and are dedicated to helping the Chicago community. The Chicago Legal Network is committed to developing black lawyers through mentorship and co-representation. So if you were injured in a car accident, slip and fall, or injured on the job, or you need assistance with criminal defense, including driving violations and DUI, check out chicagolegalnetwork.com for more information or call 773-912-3545. 773-912-3545.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to the green side of things. It's your man, Sadiq.
And Cassiopeia.
And we need you to like,
comment,
and share
that thing
every Tuesday and Thursday from 1
to 3 p.m. on
What's in It for the Black People Media.
Sissy's Taco Bar Pop-Up is back with more hours and more days. Check them out at their new pop-up location at the Woodlawn, located 1200 East 79th Street. Sissy's Taco Bar offers authentic street tacos infused with international soul. Now every Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday at the Woodlawn from 12 p.m. to 7 p.m. New vegan tacos have been added to the menu too. Visit sissytacobar.com for more info.
Baby, haven't we been through this? So why you keep playing with my emotions? How many times can I tell you that I ain't down with all the drama? So we can just keep it simple. I think I'm gonna have to let you go. You know what I want.
WIIFTBP.
Treat me right. You don't answer your phone, but you want me to believe that you was at home all night. Ain't going down like that. Go hang up, then you go right back. I ain't going out like that. No.
Another one.
Who you think you're fooling like that? Who you fooling? Them other girls with it, boy, I ain't like that. Baby, keep it moving like that. Oh no. Thought I told you when we started that if you want friends with benefits, then keep it pushing, cause I ain't down with that. You ain't catching feelings, telling me I'm the one you want. Boy, you gotta let the others go. I won't take it personal.
You are listening to the Maze Jackson Show. I'm your host, Maze Jackson. Got my co-host, Todd Stroger. Sonia Escobar. Looks like I got a message from John Cantanzara saying he is running a little bit late. You think he nervous?
Nah, it's the traffic down Roosevelt.
I think he might. He ain't ready. He might not want to come in the Lions Den. You got my Lions. Can you find them? Because I think we might have to revive them bad boys. This is the Maze Jackson Show. It's time for the social media question of the day.
It's time for the social media question of the day.
Why? Let me back up. Okay. So there is the murder of 7-year-old Jaslyn Adams. By the way, we're going to be having a conversation regarding that next Monday night, 7 o'clock, right here on the What's in It for the Black People Network. We are adding to the guest list. Currently, 24th Ward Alderman Michael Scott will be joining us. Toussaint Werner will be joining us. Mark Carter will be joining us for this conversation. I believe we're still filling in guests.
I think I need to tape this.
I think it's gonna be a bang up of a conversation. This is a conversation for black men. Sisters, I know y'all got y'all part, but this is a conversation for black men. You are definitely welcome to talk about it, but we got to talk about what happened. So stay tuned for that next Monday night. All right, Janessa, we're trying to get Eric. We're trying to get him. I'm trying to get that done so we can make that happen. Janessa, what your name is again?
What's your name?
I can't remember what I'm supposed to call you. Which one I'm supposed to respond to. All right. Anyway, so check this out. As we were talking about as I was thinking about the issue of the young lady being shot, I was getting some updates because I was watching everybody talk. Everybody has their opinions. And I was just like, remember we were talking about what about the babies and what about all of that, all of the different dynamics. And then I saw the father speak out. We got to see if we can get the father on the network so we can talk to him because he actually was speaking out. He had a press conference. If anybody knows how we can talk to him, please let us know because we'd love to talk to him. But the police have talked about this being a gang-related situation. They've said that there was a shooting immediately or a little bit later, 2 hours later at Popeyes that they are saying was a retaliation for this. Now, this is what I'm reading in the paper. I'm not suggesting that that's what happened. But the father said that he wanted justice for his daughter. He said the gang issue is nothing. That doesn't make a difference. He said, I want justice for my daughter. He wanted the people who did it put in jail.
Did he kind of explain what that means?
He said he wanted them in jail.
I mean, the people who did it, you mean, is he talking about the police officer?
No, the people who killed the police officer didn't kill his daughter.
Wait, but which story is this?
The story of the 7-year-old killed in the McDonald's drive-thru.
Oh, the McDonald's, okay.
Okay. And he pointed out, he said, why don't y'all use all them cameras to solve it? And I was like, because I got a whole bunch of mixed feelings with this whole thing. Whole bunch of mixed feelings. I believe in all racism and the pressure and all that stuff, but I got a mixed bunch of feelings. A bunch of mixed feelings. But then, as he said that, I think you can say whatever you want to say about the father, but the little girl did not deserve to die.
No.
Right? And I was thinking about the police, and this is what came across my mind. We watched Laquan McDonald be murdered. We watched it on videotape, clear as day. So much so we could see the smoke jumping off the body. We watched them solve the Juicy Smouye robbery, fake robbery, within 3 days. On a dark street on Lower Wacker where there should be nobody should have seen anything. They were able to be at his house and find out and track his steps during a polar vortex and solve the case. We watched Adam Toledo. We watched Adam Toledo from multiple angles. We saw him from the street, from the alley. We tracked his views. They went from camera to camera to camera to camera to camera. They heard shot spotters, and within 2 minutes, they were there on the spot. And within a 5-minute change from the time that the gunshots were shot, they had 20 angles of how this thing happened. They got 17 minutes of footage. Then I was thinking about, remember up north when that man killed them people up north and then rode his bike all the way to the south side? And they showed him like, psh, here he is here. Psh, here he is here. And they tracked him from all the way on the north side on a bicycle to his front door. We saw the effectiveness of ShotSpotter. Right?
Mm-hmm.
They told us it was 8 shots. The shots went off. The camera clicked. They had the people. They saw the people running away. Regardless of how it happened, it was all done. And I got to ask you, why do the cameras in the city work selectively? How can we solve Juicy Smouye? How can we justify the killing of Adam Toledo. I don't have a side on that one yet. How do we get to see Laquan and we know they took tape? And we still got to see it. Almost every killing, there is video of. Whether it is police, whether it is surveillance cameras. Why can't the cameras in our neighborhoods work? How come the police work and can kill mugs and do all these other things, but the cameras don't work in our neighborhood? I mean, think about the fact that they solved Juicy Schmouye. Think about that.
Doesn't McDonald's have cameras?
Everybody has cameros.
They can see you when you
Everybody has cameras.
They crash.
Everybody has cameras. Ring has cameras. Sure. Zoom has not Zoom. I'm sorry. Zoom does have cameras. Ruthie's don't turn hers on though. Cameras. Is there a lack of desire to solve crime, solve murders in our neighborhoods? Because I'm just telling you, there's every time something happens, they got cameras in the ATMs. They got why do they work selectively? And how is that possible? Ruthie? Todd? Ruthie? Todd? Ruthie? Todd?
I think the cameras are for surveillance. And I think that police work does go into the camera footage. Not sure what the process is. But I think sometimes the camera footage is used for larger investigative purposes. So this could be a larger investigation going on, and that's why we haven't seen the footage yet, because they would have when young people get killed in the city is, they will use those cameras to track the cars and find out and generally. But since we haven't really seen or heard anything, then I can likely conclude that it's because they searching for somebody, or they looking for somebody bigger. Or they might be trying to tame down some retaliation or something. So they know something that obviously they ain't saying that is contributing to their lack of what we would perceive to be as justice for the baby.
Okay. So I can maybe see it in this case, but they don't ever be solving nothing with them cameras when it's us.
I've heard that for probably the last 20 years, maybe longer, that has been a complaint, that there's cameras over here. How come they're not picking up anything? You never use them. But I think part of the problem is that, unlike the downtown area, all the businesses don't have cameras. And once you get like into that South Loop and go north, there are more cameras that are private that people use than there are, just in the regular neighborhoods.
Wait, you say that the most stuff. So I feel like this though. Like, why do they have them blue light cameras? Do they still do those?
They have them, but I don't think the blue light goes anymore. People thought that was
just obnoxious.
Yeah.
The corner store owners got their own version of
that.
They
do. They really do.
I'm just saying.
They really do have their own version of that. Like, the corner store owners do be putting up blue light.
The Walmart parking lots, that lock cop stuff.
What's the lock cop? What is that thing when they put the thing up in the air?
Lock cops that in a lot of, I shouldn't have said the name of the business, but
that's
in
what it's
some
called?
Businesses in our communities, they put them lock cops, and it's just like this box, like a robot camera. It's like the blue light camera concept, and it is to monitor what y'all is doing.
Let me ask a question. Do you think those things are necessary?
I would say that the majority of the people who shop probably are like, okay, I don't want to worry about my car being stolen or something. So,
but see, the challenge with that is that if your car is stolen out of one of those parking lots, you better hope that they gonna give you the footage, because they likely might not give you the footage. And so who really knows? Is it there for your protection to help you when you need it, or is it there to catch you up when you do something that you supposedly shouldn't be doing? And that's the challenge.
I don't see it that way, but hey.
Well, we can talk about it all later.
What, or is that not the same thing? I'm not sure.
I don't. So it's weird. It's a precarious position in that we know that poverty is a driver in our community.
Right.
And so understanding that poverty is a driver, is a root cause in our community, I think that we have to figure out how do we acknowledge that and get people to rob on the north side. I guess that would be like, because I do think, so I'm not going to say that this is the norm, but I do think that Salim talks about the lack of resources pushes us to a predatory, sometimes to a predatory edge. And I think understanding that that's a reality is the same thing that they use to pull the store out of our community. Right?
Yes.
So it's like, you going to take this lot cop or you going to take this abandoned building.
Right.
It's a precarious position that we exist in. It's weird. All right, y'all, let's take a quick break. Cantanzara just hit me. I think he getting nervous, man. I think they was like, you sure you ready to go on the Maze Jackson show? He said, could he come at 7:30? I was like, yep, you can come. We still here. We'll be here. We ain't going nowhere.
We'll be here.
We'll be right here, and we'll be right back.
The Maze Jackson Show will be back after this break.
If I tell them to blow, I keep that metal close. That's how we ride in Chicago.
Alderman Lopez, welcome back to the Maze Jackson Show. The mayor has a very peculiar way she's dealing with this, and I'm trying to understand, why does it seem like we're handling this with kid gloves?
The reason that she's not going after the root cause, which is gangs, the reason she's not calling out the silent enablers, as I tweeted out the other day, is because those are many of the same people that she relied on to get elected. I'm talking about the not-for-profits, those that reach out for grants and try to be the intermediaries in a community to try and bridge some of these anti-violence groups, things of that nature. These organizations that say they're trying to build bridges oftentimes are the ones that are enabling the gang lifestyle and allowing it to go unchecked and not holding accountable the individuals causing the violence in the neighborhoods. Those same partners, which she funds, which she relies on, were unceremoniously all pimping themselves out at a press conference.
Ooh.
Saying nobody said a word about gangs, but what they did say is that we need more money for the programs that we offer to help stop the violence. And clearly for more money to go to organizations that are working against the residents of the city of Chicago.
Alderman, how did y'all approve $37 million to go to one ward for violence prevention? $37 million? I don't think there's been a $37 million investment in anything black.
When these amendments to the budget and when these programs come before us, and I've asked the last time that these were proposed by the administration, what metrics are we using to ensure that everyone with their hand out was not still enabling gangbangers in the middle of the night? And oftentimes have intervened on behalf of gangbangers, particularly in the Latino community. When you see in other communities, like the black community, when you start doling out contracts to, say, Metropolitan Family Services, and now they're responsible for doling out to organizations to come into neighborhoods like, for example, West Englewood, contract out to organizations that have no connection to a community, build no bridges to a neighborhood, but get $300,000 to stop violence.
The most dangerous show in the morning.
WIIFTBP.
I've been looking for you. You've been looking for me. So hard to find what feels right. They don't see who I am. I didn't know who I was. Too afraid to show what's inside. Get to taking them chances. Oh yeah. Don't never care what no one says. No, no. Better learn your lesson. It's time for you to learn your lesson. Note to self, yeah, here we go, it's our time. Note to self, yeah, no more pressing rewind. Gotta get your head in the game, it's time to play. I know it's hard, but in the eye, facing my fears for the first time. See, it's okay to be you. You got nothing to prove. 'Cause in the end, it's gonna be alright, yeah. Get taking them chances, oh yeah. Don't never care what no one says, no, no. Better learn your lesson. It's time for you to learn your lesson, yeah, yeah. Note to self, yeah. Here we go, it's our time. Here we go, it's our time. Here we go, here we go. Note to self, yeah. No more pressing rewind. No more looking back, no. Gotta get your head in the game. It's time to play. I know it's hard, but you'll thank me someday. Note to self, yeah. Here we go, it's our time.
WIIFTBP.
Love the way you please. Say you really wanna know how I feel. Open your heart, not your ears. 'Cause I can show you so much better than any words I could share. Give you all my time and my love. And there's plenty more if you want. There's no reason to be afraid. Together we got it made. Just let me be all that you need. Fantasies are now reality. You got the key. Let's plant the seed. Baby, we were meant to be. La la la, loving you is easy. I'll never stop, no matter what. La la la, loving you completes me. I'll be here forevermore. You know life and love, they go hand in hand. It's so easy to understand. Make no mistake, won't play no games. All of me is yours, there's no end. Just let me be all that you need. Your fantasies are now reality. You got the key. Let's plant the seed.
You are listening to the most dangerous show in the morning. This is What's in It for the Black People Radio. Maze Jackson. Maze Jackson, the most vociferous advocate for black people in the world.
What's in it for the black people? Cause economically we are not equal. Waking up to lies, can't doze no more. I told y'all, yeah, this a dangerous show. Don't go to church if you ain't trying to help us. Don't even try to be around that can't protect us. We see the lies now, other politicians. We need money and no symbolism. It's Maze, it's Sonia, and Ruthie, and Todd, explaining how we all come from God, giving us tools to beat the odds. If we united, our movement gon' stop. If they ain't tryna help us, they ain't tryna do nothing. We gotta do something, we gotta stop running. It's time to confront the problem. Really, you expect your oppressed to solve them?
Gotta do more than listen. Some action with it on a
Wake up, Chicago! Wake up, world! This is the Maze Jackson Show. I'm your host, Maze Jackson. Got my co-host, Todd Stroger. Got my girl, Ruthie Moore in the building. Sonia Escobar in this joint. And I'm looking at my text messages and
Good morning.
John Cantanzara says, I'm running a little bit late. 7:30, okay? Y'all gonna wait? I don't think we going nowhere. We've been waiting. We've been promoting. Come on. Come on through. Telling y'all, man, what's in it for the Black People Media? Trying to get you the information and the questions you want answered. Let me say what's up to everybody who is out on YouTube. Shout out to my man Corey Mack, Aaron X, Yama. Ooh, there's a lot of people over there. Man, shout out to can I say what's up to everybody on YouTube? Because the YouTube audience is growing, quite frankly. It rivals the Facebook audience. I might have to start spending some time on YouTube. We got to put the Ricky Hendon YouTube TV up. I forgot.
Oh, right.
Ricky Hendon sent us a YouTube TV. Right. Speaking of Ricky Hendon, he headed down to Springfield today.
Today, right?
Yep, he getting ready to get it cracking. He getting ready to get it cracking. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to Hollywood Hendon. LaShawn Ford is introducing his bill today, or introduced it yesterday. And I think that former Senator Hendon is going down. Let me tell you all, I'm looking forward to this conversation. Why y'all so hostile? Like, why everybody so...
What you see?
It's just, I was getting all type of, like, hate mail yesterday.
About who?
Hate about John Cantanzara. Y'all think he's a racist? I'm going to ask him.
Well, there's a process, and you have to be part of the process.
So,
he was just on that. He just had that Trump energy.
I mean, I think it's a lot.
Keyword was had.
You got to talk to the people involved.
So I'm gonna ask him about it.
Okay.
About his grip on
Ruthie, save it, Ruthie. I think though, here's what I would like for everybody to be prepared for. Not a yelling and screaming match, right? I mean, I got questions. I can't make anybody's answers be different, right? So here's the thing. The thing is for us to ask the questions and allow for you to hear the answers. Now, I don't think that we're going to, so how can I say this? I want everybody to feel comfortable coming to talk to us, right? Because I think you deserve to hear from people not through the lens of someone else, but through the lens of us. Okay? So, I hope that you will find this informative. I wrote a whole page of questions that I know I ain't gonna get to. We only got an amount of time, so we got to be selective in the questions that we ask. I know Ruthie has got some questions. I know Todd. Todd might get quiet. The police coming around. Todd, can you just get out back and can you get the phone ready? Oh Lord! All right, y'all.
I loves me some Monday morning quarterbacking.
Hey man, you better stop being a hater, Todd. I'm about tired of you.
That's probably true, but I don't think it's gonna happen.
Give it. Go ahead, say it.
The only planning and strategy that you need to employ, Todd, is just to say to yourself, "I am not afraid," and it'll bolster your muscles.
That sounds good, but
you got to plan to not be scared. If you're already going in scared, then you're going to be scared.
It's got nothing to do with scared, even though fear is a natural response. If you don't have fear, then you're not actually human, to be honest with you.
It's fight or flight.
If you meet somebody who doesn't have fear, walk the other way.
It depends on
That's what we want them to do.
No, it depends on what they are not fearful of.
It's overcoming the fear that makes you courageous, though.
It's overcoming the fear, but I think that's where the planning comes in. Like, you have to plan to not be scared. And part of that is research
when I
and
used
understanding.
Plan, you said I was off base there.
Because you said that we need to plan for the movement and we need to plan like that. Things can't be all willy-nilly and spontaneous. But I think that the planning comes in planning and conditioning our minds for the fight. Not actually planning on paper when we gonna go squad up. Sometimes that just gotta happen. You might get the call and let's go.
I stand by what I think, though.
I know you do. That is why you're going to be standing on the porch. Because we don't want you in the street.
That's okay.
Can we give him a phone though?
That's okay.
Can he just die? Or who we gonna
No,
call?
he
them?
got an Android, so no. He all the way messed up. He
I'd
ain't
rather
ready
be
for
with
no
y'all.
aspects of this revolution.
That is true because they could be all in your
Jeezy,
phone. They're gonna be all in your phone.
Oh, you
Ruthie, I
Apple
just
people!
saw your
You
phone.
Apple
I
people
got
don't
you.
know that eventually, who's the owner of Apple? Zuckerberg?
Cook.
No. He gonna push a button one day, and all y'all gonna be zombies.
No, that would be Bill Gates. You and your Google people. You and your Microsoft. Apple is about privacy, right? So yeah, okay, Todd. See, you don't be knowing Todd.
Google is about privacy.
No, Apple is about privacy.
Oh, that's what they told you. That's right. I remember that.
I'm a huge Apple fan, but it's not. Android is more secure, from my understanding. I'm listen. I have Maze. You already know how I'm
Maze
rocking.
is like,
I love.
Ruthie, you can only be on one team.
No, I'm just saying. Like if we thinking,
Ruthie, we just told him he got to stay on
I don't
the porch.
even know you.
Ruthie, we get off the porch and now you done went back.
happened?
Ruthie,
Let's
you
talk
about
about
to,
it.
next thing you gonna be talking about you calling
What's going on
somebody.
inside?
Ruthie, what
What's
did you
going
do?
on
I'll be like,
here?
my Android did. Ruthie, Ruthie, I'm heartbroken here. You just beat
I'm
me.
loyal. I'm loyal.
But you just.
But I'm
rooting
truthful.
for you. We all rooting for you.
I'm loyal but truthful.
Dang, Ruthie.
You know, tech surveillance is a real big thing. But I only reason why I say that is because if you talk to like super hardcore computer people, they have sometimes two phones. They got a Apple phone, so they can just fit in with everybody and do all that. But they have an Android phone that's like
So they could blow up the world.
yeah, so they can do their hacking stuff.
Okay, hacking. Oh, so they use their phone. I can't. The keyboard. I just cannot get to the whole use the phone for emails and all that stuff. It's just so.
The new iPad is nice.
Yeah, we have to put
the camera's way better.
We need a star program for the new iPad. We need another iPad here so that when things go down, we have like when y'all go away.
You better get them before school go back remote.
Oh yeah, well, school not going back remote.
Allegedly.
They ain't going back remote.
Allegedly.
They gonna sacrifice up.
You see what happened in one of them states where all them kids are off. That was in Illinois, right? One of these suburban
I don't know,
districts.
but I know I got an email yesterday talking about all the sports is canceled until further notice.
See, that's what I'm saying. Like, what's further notice?
Gotcha.
All sports? All sports? Because it's track season now.
Well, they said until further notice, everything shut
And
down.
lacrosse.
I'm just telling you. That's what they sent the email. They said we got to check everything out.
So does that mean they've had some cases, and that's just their way of telling you?
I don't know.
That
I would say
means the
yes.
situation is out of control. Shut the whole operation down. That's what that means.
Find the bug.
The data shows it's the sports.
Is it the sports?
That's what the
They
data
have been
shows.
saying that.
I could see that. I mean,
Data.
depends
It's
on,
the
but as
data.
we've learned from Ruthie, data can be manipulated depending on which way. So if it's a 5%, then you get to say it's 95% of the people ain't got it.
That's true.
See, I learned from Ruthie.
It's data.
She said you got to data sets can be manipulated to say what you need them
But
to
what
say.
that data say though?
That data say that 75% of the kids who play sports don't get. So you just say you ain't gonna be in the 75%. That's all.
Yeah. That was it.
But, you know, man, Todd, that was anticlimactic, man. You did that, and you was like, "Yeah." Psych.
I was just trying to,
Got your nose.
Stretch us for 30 seconds. For 3 seconds.
That's right.
That was a 3-second stretch. All right, y'all. Well, you know what? Let me ask a question. Y'all want to do a pre-interview of
No.
Y'all don't want to do like a
Like
pre-interview?
a run through?
No, like I could interview you and you can answer and you can guess what his answers are gonna be.
No.
You don't want to do that? All right, you interview me and hold on, let me see. Here. He's here. So let's do this. Let's take a quick break. Let's get a reset. Let's get the whole joint together and then we gonna get going and we gonna get this thing cracking. Look, I'm gonna put on a Sonia, why don't you play some?
Don't tell me what. Yeah, I got it.
Yes, I like that, Sonia.
I don't have a camera. I feel so free. You can see me.
That's right. Be feisty.
Well,
Wait, don't turn that
don't let
camera.
Todd. Don't let Todd do you. Don't let Todd.
I'm gonna
Look,
keep feeding you. Come on.
Look, I'm
Get
just
him.
telling you. You see what happened yesterday, right? You saw what happened yesterday. Todd was getting ready to get the look inside my sleeve. I kept waiting for him to look inside the sleeve. It was gonna be like, baby.
Hey, I noticed my barrier's over. Going, what the heck?
I
dropped it
I'm gonna make
earlier.
Ruthie sit right next to you, so it's gonna be all good. Look, y'all, this is the Maze Jackson Show. We're gonna be back, and when we come back, we're going to be talking to Fraternal Order of Police President John Cantanzara. All right, we'll be back.
The Maze Jackson Show. We'll be back after this break.
Shop at Black-owned and operated Solo Beauty, where you are appreciated and respected. Located at 8158 South Cottage Grove, Solo Beauty can supply all of your black hair care needs. Solo Beauty is open from 11 a.m. to 8 p.m., Tuesday through Saturday.
WIIFTBP and
Is it you? Is it me? How did it get so hard to see? I'm in a corner, so are you. Holding ground in different rooms. It's hard to breathe, but still I try. Maybe I'd leave in another life. Somehow still I don't know why. I believe we'll be alright. Be alright. Be alright. You shut down, I get fed up. Nothing I do seems like enough. But then I hear you call to me, and I begin to feel set free. It's all I want or ever have, to be known just as I am. If you can meet me in that light, I believe we'll be alright. Be alright. Ooh, be alright. Ooh, be alright. Ooh, be alright. 'Cause it's all I want or ever have, to be known just as I am. If you can meet me in that light, I believe we'll be alright. It's all I want or ever have, to be known just as I am. If you can meet me in that light, I believe we'll be alright. If you can meet me in that light, I believe we'll be alright. Please meet me in that light, and I believe we'll be alright.
And you can tell them, May said, we want to know what's in it for the black people.
WIIFTBP and
I think that the black community is starting to realize the mayor may not necessarily be an ally just because she is black.
Live from What's in It for the Black Media Studio.
Our representatives don't necessarily get a pass just because they're black. We've got a challenge in the black part of Chicago of holding black politicians accountable.
You're listening to The Maze Jackson Show.
This is Chicago, so I understand the Chicago way. I ask every day what's in it for the black people.
With Maze Jackson.
Come on, y'all.
Don't know what is real, no
to the Mays Jackson Show.
You are listening to the Mays Jackson Show. I'm your host, Mays Jackson. Got my co-host, Todd Stroger. Miss Ruthie Moore is in the building. I'm your man, and we got... All right, y'all. I ain't think he was coming. I ain't gonna even lie. When I looked outside and I saw that he was not in the lobby, I was like, I knew he wasn't gonna come. Then I looked at my text, and he's like, maybe 7:30. Then I get another text. He's like, I'm outside. So I'm like, he's in the building. I'll be honest with you, I did not think he was coming to the West Center for the Black People Media Network. Let me do this right now and welcome you to the network. President of Chicago Lodge Number 7, that's the Fraternal Order of Police. It is the president, Mr. John J. Cantanzara Jr. Welcome to the Mays Jackson Show. How are you this morning?
Living the dream. Thanks for having me.
Well, you know what? Thank you for accepting the invitation. I'll be honest, and I said this about 300 times, but I did not think you would come. I know I'd reached out a couple other times, but I think it's important, huh?
It's been a little busy.
I can imagine it's been a little bit busy for you for the last couple years. I'm gonna do this, and because we got a bunch of questions, and I don't know how much time you got for us. I'm gonna ask you to stay a little longer because you got a little time for us.
I'm here,
my man. All right. So I want to start before we get into this by asking you to give us your background in your own words, not from what we've heard, not from anything anybody's told us. A couple things I want you to hit in there is your neighborhood that you grew up in, maybe your grammar school, your high school, college, a little bit about your police history, district rank, and all that good stuff, and then whatever else you want to throw in there.
Holy jeez. We're going to have to stay a little late for sure. I grew up on the southwest side by Midway. You know, it was... a predominantly white neighborhood. Not predominantly, it was all white.
Right.
I mean, we're going back a ways, 40 plus years ago. It's quite different now. It's that same neighborhood is now at least 60% Hispanic, I would say, if not a little bit more than that. So you did see the change, but it's definitely not as quiet as it used to be, but it's still relatively safe compared to other parts of this neighborhood or city, I should say. You know, I went to all Catholic schools growing up. I went to St. Rita High School, which was a pretty integrated high school at that time.
My kid is a Mustang.
Great theme song. But the original, not that imposter on 79th Street. Yeah, I just, you know, I grew up in a middle-class family. My dad was a truck driver. My mom was a stay-at-home mom for the most part. My grandmother actually worked in a church right across the expressway over here, St. Jerome's. It's a Catholic Croatian church, and she cooked school lunches every day for the kids, and we did weddings and stuff on the weekends. So I grew up in the kitchen since I was old enough to think.
Got it.
I was driving a truck prior to the police department. The police department called, and I'm not going to say I had any grand memories or thoughts that I wanted to save the world and be a police officer. I had a young son at the time. I knew I needed job stability and benefits, and I knew I was a people person. I couldn't sit in an office all day, so I kind of pursued this. And I know there's a lot of people that would disagree with this, but I think I was made for interacting with the public.
Really? Interesting. So let me ask you this. What made you become the police officer? Like, what appealed to you about becoming a police officer?
Again, the interaction with the public. It wasn't I wanted to go save the world and lock up bad guys by any stretch of the imagination, because I wasn't always the police, as the saying goes.
Okay, so let me ask. So how has that worked out for you in interacting with the public, and particularly when you were growing up? How much interaction did you have with black people, and was it positive or negative interaction?
Well, growing up, my sister was married to a black man for 22 years. Okay. I have a niece and two nephews that are interracial. So, the dynamic was a little strange in my house. You know, my dad, I want to say he was racist, but he was definitely biased. He believed you stay over there, we stay over here. Till the day he died, he did not know that my sister was married and that he had grandchildren, because they just didn't want him to know. They didn't think he could accept it. That was a family decision that was made. I was the last person in the family, the immediate family, to find out that I had a nephew that has the same birthday as me. When I turned 18, he turned 1. That was the day my mom let me know the quote-unquote family secret.
How many siblings do you have?
4 other ones. So
is she part of the family still now?
My sister?
Yeah.
Oh, yes, absolutely.
And you all accepted the...
Yeah, I mean, again, the only person that really, I don't know. I mean, we never gave him the chance to find out till the day he died, unfortunately. But, that was just something they didn't think he'd be able to handle. And nobody wanted to deal with the drama, so they kind of just never told him. She wasn't around for holidays, and when she was, she came by herself. So it was a strange dynamic, but nobody had a problem with it. So it was something I grew up with.
Okay. How do you think that impacted how close were you with your dad?
My dad was a very functional alcoholic. I mean, he got up every morning, 5:30, drove a truck all day, went straight to the bar. Never really saw him much. So I wouldn't say we were close, but I did learn, and the older I become, you learn valuable lessons as you look back. Mm-hmm. He taught me the ethic of hard work and just sticking to what you believe in and not letting anybody compromise your beliefs. So I will give him that. But as far as, playing catch with my dad, didn't happen.
Okay, that's fair. Currently, John, let me back up. Tell me about your police history. Like, where did you work? What did you like? Were you like a detective? Were you a lieutenant? Were you like a super, like...
Never had any. Never
were you
had,
like,
no, that
like, were you like a, like when you see on the TV, did you bust the bad guys or like sliding over cars, and where were you assigned and all that?
I feel
at
any moment he's going to ask you where you like Inspector Gadget.
Like, look inside of my sleeve. Right. He's got short sleeves on. I'm good.
Right.
I started in the 8th District over by Midway.
Okay.
I worked there for about 5 years. And you could say my long documented troubles with the Chicago Police Department started right about then, because the police department does not like to be called out on hypocrisy. I had an issue that I called out a lieutenant on. Of course, the commander came to his defense and made my life very uncomfortable there, so it was time to move on. That's the good thing about the Chicago Police Department. You have an issue in one department or one station. That's what I did. I left, went downtown, had a blast downtown for several years.
What is that, 18?
Yeah.
What do you mean you had a blast? Talk to me about that.
18. I was working midnights in the 18th District. It was always something going on. It was lively as heck. There was a great group of guys and girls. We had a lot of fun. The boss on midnights, Tom Sopanos, was the best boss I ever had in this job. Hands down, phenomenal guy. He didn't treat anybody different, whether you were in a good group or whether you were not. He wanted everybody to get along, be fair, and again, he just was exactly what a boss should be. So for those 8 years, it was a blast.
Now, tell me what a blast for a police officer is. Just and understand, I'm a little nervous about a blast for a police officer.
Doesn't have anything to do with gunfire.
Okay, talk to me.
I mean, you just. There's a lot of, I don't know what I can say and what I can't say.
The division, you can say what you can say whatever you want.
There was a lot of ball busting. There was,
Okay.
there was police work done. There was, great food downtown. Everybody had fun. Everybody went home safe. Everybody backed each other up. Everybody gave a damn. You can go from the north end to the college crowd all the way down to the south end, where you have all the suburban people coming and being drunk and dumb. It was like going to a movie every night and watching just people be goofy.
Got it. So, tell me how you go from that to now where you're the head of the FOP, but you're also the police department is trying to get rid of you. Help me. That is almost like an oxymoron. Help me understand that.
Well, it's not the first time the police department's tried to get rid of me. They've tried 2 other times over some pretty petty stuff. But like I said, they have a long history of not having accountability in that building right down the street here at 35th and Michigan. And they don't like anybody challenging the powers that be. But I just believe in calling balls and strikes. So how did I get there? The first time that I was given my 30 pending separation case in 2008, I was blindsided by it. I never saw it coming. Did I know I made some enemies? Absolutely. But did I ever think they were going to take it to that extreme? No. So when the sergeants handed me my paperwork telling me I had a case before the police board, I And this is in our current FOP magazine that we distribute to the members. It's a story of how I got my last dog. I sat home,
dog?
My dog, Bruce.
Oh, you have literally a dog.
Literally a dog.
Okay.
Well, I mean, he's no longer with me, but it was just a cover story on me and him and how I got there. And it was just a reach out to other officers who may be going through similar situations. But I sat in my house for 3 days staring at a wall with no TV, didn't know what to do, didn't eat. And I really just thought about taking a jar of pills and going to sleep and not waking up. I don't make no bones about it. It's not a story I share very often, but it's out in the magazine now, so it's there. But I turned the TV on for the first time in 3 days, and Bruce Almighty was on with Jim Carrey, and it triggered a memory of a story with a friend of mine who said, you should name your dog Bruce if you get a dog. And I literally turned the TV off, went to the pound, and adopted Bruce. And he got me through a tough time, and I would say saved my life. So after that, I realized that the FOP didn't quite fight for people like me, because they didn't want the troublemaker moniker people who stirred the pot. They wanted to go along to get along people, made their life easier. So my dad was a union guy. You know, I saw my dad get stabbed in the back by his own friends when they got control of the Chicago Truck Drivers Independent Union, and he was promised some things that the second they got in the door, they forgot his name.
Chicago politics, baby.
Oh, you got that right. Well, it's a selfish society, and it's only gotten worse. Me, now. But it kind of got me more involved in FOP business than I had ever been to that point, really. It was just an entity that took my union dues, and I didn't really have much use for it. But from that point forward, I became more involved. I became a regular at meetings. I became outspoken at the microphone, and it just kind of grew. And as my career progressed and the troubles mounted, so to speak, I found less and less fight in the organization that was tasked to defend me. So I just made it up my mind that as I was getting closer to retirement age, I was going to make one run at it and see if I could make a difference for other officers who I know are going through a lot of the same stuff I do. And I mean, a union is supposed to fight for its members. And far too often, the FOP fell short of that mission. It was who you knew and how hard they were going to fight for you. It wasn't even across the board.
And when you say fight for you, because I'm going to just tell you, looking at me and from our perspective, when we think about fight for you, it is defending murder.
Here we go.
It is the defense of murder, right? Or the defense of killing. And I want to be straight up. So I want to give you the opportunity to answer, but I'm going to be honest. Our perception is that we see FOP as the organization that protects people that kill people that look like us. And I want you to I want you to address it straight up. And I give you the microphone and the platform.
I would like to just say, I think, and I'm not talking for Mays, but there are bad apples everywhere. I've been a lot of places. And it seems as if the union will take the bad apples and say, well, even though you're a bad apple, we're going to keep you in the bunch.
Well, and it's a life, in a case of life and death. Like there's other stuff I can get, like you lazy or you do something or whatever. But it seems that there's never really been a time when I've seen FOP been on the side of like just right. But I'm going to give you the opportunity to answer. Talk to me, man.
So the FOP, like every other union, has an obligation to defend its members.
Okay.
I've been very clear that I don't even remember the officer's name or sadly the gentleman's name, but there was a very clear incident in South Carolina, I believe it was, where an elder...
Walter Scott.
Oh, is that okay? Where he was shot in the back after grabbing the taser. 100%. I said we would never, ever defend him in any way, shape, or form for what he did if he was a member. I would absolutely be thrown out of office fighting that he would never have gotten defended. I don't know if he was even an FOP member, to be quite honest with you. But I agree there's just some things that are so egregious that we can't defend him. But that being said, we have guidelines in the Legal Defense Handbook on what qualifies for defense in line of duty incidents and what doesn't. A committee reviews an officer's circumstances, makes a recommendation to the board of directors. The board of directors votes to determine whether they're going to defend an officer or not. It is no different than any other union organization. I mean, I could tell you after working 4 years in the CPS at Hubbard High School, I went from being, the principal's own words, the best thing since sliced bread, to a racist in 12 hours because of a simple picture I posted in front of a squad car with a flag. But I did my damnedest to help those kids any way, shape, and form I could. I built them a koi pond in the middle of that atrium out of my own blood, sweat, and tears by myself with my own money. Over $10,000 I invested into that pond to give them some place of solace in the middle of that school and neighborhood that they can enjoy. And I was a cross-country coach for the girls. I literally traveled with the ROTC team. And again, one little picture turned me into something.
That was a pretty big picture. That was my biggest post of the year, by the way, for that year. I'm going to circle back to that.
Well, we could circle back, Jen Psaki. But to go back to your point, you know, we've been having, and COVID kind of curtailed it a little bit, but last year we started community outreach conversations through Dr. Willie Wilson. And he was bringing ministers to the FOP where we could have conversations, explain to who we are as people, whether the women, men of the FOP, as police officers, and then what the FOP does. So I use this simple analogy, and I hope people just at least take a time to appreciate and understand this. At the FOP, you basically get an allegation from internal affairs or from COPA. They sustain it or they toss it out, one or the other. If they sustain it, you get a discipline recommendation. At that point, you get to file for a grievance and file for arbitration. Once an arbitrator rules on that case, it's done. So that's two levels, the original investigation and a grievance arbitration procedure that an officer has for protections. You flip that to the criminal justice system. If I arrest somebody with a gun or dope, I basically have to call the state's attorney and get felony approval that night on the spot in order for charges to go through. That's one. Then you go to a probable cause hearing. Judge determines if there's enough to go to trial. That's two. Can get tossed out on that. You go to trial, whether it's bench or jury, that's three. You go to an appeal, that's four. You go to state Supreme Court, that's five. The average criminal, so to speak, has 5 layers of protection. The average officer has 2. At what point do we say enough is enough? And they want to keep adding more and more and more layers of discipline to the officer, but there's no accountability on the other end of it. So this whole perception that the FOP protects bad apples, again, we have an obligation to defend our members. Things aren't always what they seem. I'm not going to say that if an officer goes into a bank in uniform and robs a bank, we're going to defend him. We're not.
What if he shoots a black kid 16 times in the middle of the street?
Well, that was
and we watch the body, and somebody has to say, "Hey, cuz, don't reload. Don't make." We're watching the body jump, right? Like 16 shots, and he got a job at FOP, right? Like
that wasn't my choice. I was not there at that time.
Okay,
I would have not given him a job at the FOP. I thought that was a terrible idea, but again, I was not the president.
Okay, I'll give you that. I appreciate that. Ruthie, you got some in your box? I got it in the meantime, or whenever you're ready, you can jump in.
Sure, I have a question for you related to the use of force. So I've read a few of your interviews, and you talk about how that is a fundamental aspect of policing in regards to police ability to use lethal force. And so a part of the, defund the police movement is in relation to the use of force by police. So we saw it with a few police killings that have happened recently where it's like, well, why didn't they use a taser or rubber bullets? So can you talk about the use of lethal force within communities, and do you believe that police could be as effective with non-lethal weapons?
Good question.
I think we already use non-lethal weapons when it's called for. You refer recent shootings, and everybody has seen the Adam Toledo video. That officer didn't have a non-lethal option when an offender is running with a gun in their hand that was just fired, more than likely by the officer's assumptions, and very good assumptions, by the way, by that offender, 8 times at a vehicle. They don't know at a vehicle, but they know that somebody shot 8 times 90 seconds before they showed up, and there's only 2 people out on the street, and someone's running down the street carrying something, looks like a gun. You don't say, I think I'm going to shoot my taser instead. again, we have no obligation to be fired upon or shot before we return fire, ever, and nor should we.
Let me ask you, John, do you acknowledge that the roots of policing lie in slavery? That police were really to protect property and so understanding that, I would just tell you that our belief is that police, and not even our belief, we know that policing initially was brought to protect property, which essentially we were chattel slaves. Talk to me about the perception. So you don't think there should be any police? Is that what you're saying? No, I'm not saying that. I'm asking. Let me get to my question. My question is that if that be the root, or if that be where it came from, how has policing evolved in their perception of dealing with black people specifically? Because I do think that there is a difference in the way that police officers treat and perceive black people. Now, do you believe that there is a bias at all when it comes to, or do you think black people are more likely to commit crime? I think there's a bias in everything in life. Look around your room. Look at the title of your show. What's in it for black people? Everything is race-based today. I mean, it's sad, but that's just where we're at in society. So I don't think that you're any better than the implication that the police department was initiated to basically keep slavery. Wait, you're saying what's in it for the black people? Media is this anybody who has an entity or an argument that starts with a race-based, you're basically being racist in some or biased in some way, shape, or form yourself. So you're almost being hypocritical. I would give you biased. I would say we can't ever be racist. I said racist, or okay, that's not. We can't be black true. People can't be racist. Why you cannot? No, we cannot. No, we can be biased. No? We can be prejudiced. So we don't have the power. So if a white person moves into the middle of Inglewood. Mm-hmm. And they start getting their house trashed and stuff, that's not being racist? I don't think a white person moves into the middle of Inglewood. Okay, they're going to get a basket. There's plenty of Hispanic people that moved into Inglewood. I know that for a fact. Okay. And what happens so if they start getting attacked, my point is, you say you can't be. Yes, everybody has. They could be prejudiced. Everybody has the capability of being racist. So let's just. Well, our definition, let's argue about it, but our definition, we don't have to argue about it, but our definition of racist is prejudice plus the power to enforce it, right? But power how? Power can mean many different things. In a neighborhood, it could mean as simple as intimidation. I think in the grand scheme of things, I think we're talking about institutionally. But John, I guess my question becomes, how does that bias play out? Because, I was thinking about when you just got through saying that the FOP votes, right? And the board votes and they decide which cases they're going to. How many black people are on that board? None, currently. How many black people have been on that board? In the past? Mm-hmm. I don't have the number, but off the top of my head, I'd say it's probably close to zero. No, true. Not true at all. Okay. Not true at all. Okay, cool. I'm trying to, I haven't been around forever, but I would say it's probably 10 or less. Okay. And in that, do you think that the lack thereof in a city where it's a majority, I don't like to say black and brown, but there's a majority of black and brown people in this city, do you think that impacts kind of the mentality of, do you think black people are adequately represented in the Fraternal Order of Police? And do you think that that lack of... You mean black officers? Yes. Black officers but at that power level, right, that essentially allows us to have a voice in kind of the policy there. Why should you have a policy in my organization? Why should the FOP is a private organization? No, I'm saying the black officers. Do the black officers have a role in a voice in what happens? More than they've ever had before. Really? Yes. Okay. I'll get it. And I'll tell you, the simple dynamic is our board of directors is made up by an election. Mm-hmm. People have to run for office to get elected to be on that board. I cannot control who runs for office in an election. There is qualifications that you have to meet in order to be able to be a candidate for elections every 3 years. If black officers are not coming to the meetings to qualify to run for office, I cannot control that fact. We had just over, I think, 121 eligible candidates to run for this last cycle, and less than 10 of them were black. Less than 10 of them were female. Those are dynamics I cannot control. Do you think it has anything to do with the organization, though, them not feeling as though there is a place for them there? 1,000%.
And we said this during the campaign when we went to district and roll call after roll call, that we noticed the reason why. And it wasn't necessarily racist based or even misogynistic, as the mayor likes to use that word all the time. But the reality is that the people that were in charge of the FOP, they didn't want me there either. They wanted the least competition possible so they can get reelected every single time, because it made elections easier to continue to work there and do the bare minimum. That was absolutely a dynamic. So it was not necessarily as much race-based as it was. They just didn't want competition at all. But we were very clear that we were going to change the dynamic. You know, I don't, you'll be the first person. I'll break some ground with you here, because this is not a story I tell publicly. But there was an election a couple cycles ago where an officer was running for office, and someone on his ticket was an African-American that I've befriended when I was in trouble. One of my many.
You got black friends?
I do. I've even had a couple black girlfriends.
Oh, Lord. We don't say that one. That's the. Oh, go ahead. Ruthie, stay over there.
I figured you'd appreciate that.
Go ahead. There's no race based in that. Go ahead. I'm just joking. Go ahead. Come on.
You brought it up. In the process of running for office, I told him that he was being used. They wanted him to go to the black districts, theoretically, where most of the black officers, a lot of the black officers work, and just get votes for them. He assured me that it wasn't, that they were onto something groundbreaking and great. I said, dude, I wish you the best, but I just don't see it. I know
my guy. Okay, go ahead.
They ain't my guy.
Okay.
That's not cool, because that ain't my guy.
Okay.
So that being said, as things progressed, one day I'm leaving an FOP meeting, and I had to go do roll calls, and I catch that person by the doors, and I ask where my friend is at, and he literally looks around and goes on a tirade.
Okay.
And drops the N-word several times, referring to him. And I just kept looking straight ahead, and I'm thinking to myself, unreal. So I tried to keep my composure. I leave. Now, what do you do with that information? Now, I didn't know what to do. And I literally was driving down to Dan Ryan South, debating, what do I do? Do I call and tell him, or do I not? Well, I got to about 73rd Street, and I can remember it clear as yet today. I called him and said, listen, I'm going to recount a story to you, exactly how it happened, word for word, and you could do with this information what you want. And I did. And there's dead silence on the phone afterwards. And he goes, I don't know what to say. I said, I don't know what to say either, but I felt you had the right to know. I told you they were no good. I told you they were using you. You're going in front of roll calls, vouching for these people, and they're as dirty, and they're everything that's wrong with this organization that I've said from day one, and I just thought you had the right to know. Well, you know what that turned into? I don't know who to believe, because he denied it. That's what I got. And I didn't talk to that person for 3.5 years because he questioned my honesty on something so major to me. It caused a major rift, and I was pretty pissed, to be quite honest with you. But, again, I told that person, you're exactly what's wrong with this organization. You have already told me you will not defend 4,000 officers the same way you will defend the other ones. And you cannot be president of this organization ever if I have anything to say about it.
So do you think that police officers, do you think that the blue organization trumps everything? I don't want to use Trump, but like, do you think that, because, you know, one of the things that we talk about is this blue code of silence. Does a blue code of silence list, is there a blue code of silence in your estimation?
You look at my discipline history, you can see there's no blue code of silence with me. I've spoke out about wrongdoing a long time. You know, I'm facing a police board case right now because I called Eddie Johnson out for breaking state law. I mean, he broke state law, and I'm facing a police board case because of it, because the department doesn't want to hold anybody accountable. And this isn't even, I know a lot of people want to turn that into, oh, well, the white copper's going after the black guy. That's not true either, because I actually made a complaint against Jody Weiss in 2009 that went absolutely nowhere. Nobody in the police department wanted to address it whatsoever. They totally ignored the complaint in violation of department policy all the way up the chain of command.
Let me ask you, John. I where does the problem exist between black people and police from your standpoint, particularly in Chicago?
So here, I'll tie a couple things together. June 30th this year, we'll be memorializing the 20th year anniversary of Officer Brian Strauss's death. Brian was my class commander in the academy. Brian was absolutely a great human being, fair as can be, and tried to make a difference in the Pilsen area, getting rid of gangs for that neighborhood, and tragically lost his life in an alley, 2 o'clock in the morning, by a teenage gangbanger with a gun, quite like Adam Toledo. That's just the reality of this. So, that being said, sorry, I gotta get my thought there. I think of Brian and I kind of get distracted. Where are we going with this? Remind me quick, mate. I had a point here.
We were talking about is the police department inherently racist? Where do we fix the problem between black people in the police? You want to take a break? You need a second?
Yeah, give me a break because I was tying that all together and I forgot why I brought Brian into it.
All right, well, let's take a quick break. We will be right back. You are watching the Maze Jackson Show. We are talking to John Cantanzara. He is the president of the Fraternal Order of Police. We'll be right back.
The Maze Jackson Show. We'll be back after this break.
Shop at Black-owned and operated Solo Beauty, where you are appreciated and respected. Located at 8158 South Cottage Grove, Solo Beauty can supply all of your black hair care needs. Solo Beauty is open from 11 a.m. to 8 p.m., Tuesday through Saturday.
The Chicago Legal Network is the collaboration of attorneys that concentrate in many areas of the law most needed in Chicago neighborhoods. The CLN lawyers focus on personal injury, criminal defense, and other issues. The CLN lawyers all average over 20 years of legal experience and are dedicated to helping the Chicago community. The Chicago Legal Network is committed to developing black lawyers through mentorship and co-representation. So if you were injured in a car accident, slip and fall, or injured on the job, or you need assistance with criminal defense, including driving violations and DUI, check out ChicagoLegalNetwork.com for more information or call 773-912-3545. 773-912-3545.
WIIFTBP.
I can see it in your eyes. You've been hurt way too many times, baby. And if I'm being honest, yeah, I can tell, girl, that you want this, yeah, but I can only wait for so long, girl. Giving us both some space so we can see, but don't make this too hard, yeah, 'cause I still want you right next to me.
You are listening to the Maze Jackson Show. I'm your host, Maze Jackson. Got my co-host, Todd Stroger, Miss Ruthie Moore, Sonia Escobar on the Wheels of Steel, and in the building we have John Cantanzara. He is the chairman of the Fraternal Order of Police, Lodge 7, right here in Chicago. And we took a break, and you had a point you wanted to drop before you came back. You were mentioning your training officer.
Correct. I was going to point something out to it. It's Cantanzara. It's misspelled.
I'll fix it. So wait, Cantan. Got it. Okay, I got you. You'll be back in a hot second.
Where's that from in the old world?
Can't. Italian.
Italian. Okay.
Can. So where I was going with it was, every year there's a memorial service of Brian's death at the site where he was killed in Pilsen, and last year's ceremony, I was sitting next to Superintendent Brown, and he gave his remarks, and then I gave mine, and he actually said something about my remarks that was pretty good. I'm going to steal that line. And all I said was, as the police, we can be a little more human, use a little more discretion, and have a little more humility. And I think that goes a long way in changing the dynamic of what the Chicago Police Department is perceived as in many of the neighborhoods.
Okay, I think that's a good segue to my question related to humility and humanity. So we all saw the Anjanette Young video many, many, many times. And one of the most gut-wrenching parts of that video was looking at the white male officers sort of standing around as she was handcuffed naked, pleading that you have the wrong house. And so in terms of humanity, a lot of people watched that video, and it made us have feelings related to Chicago police officers, particularly white ones, not being able to see the humanity in black people. So can you talk about how police training had an impact on how the officers were reacting to that wrongful police raid?
Would you have been as outraged if Anjanette Young was white?
Yes.
As outraged?
No, I probably wouldn't, because I would expect you to be.
Being honest, thank you. No, because the simple reality is, again, I've said it the day that it came out. Could they have done a better job of covering her up sooner? Absolutely. No doubt about it. Was there anything egregious or nefarious about their intentions or what they did? No. They had an obligation to make, and people, you say that she said you got the wrong place. Do you know how many times officers hear, it wasn't me, I didn't do it, and you could have blood all over your hands? I mean, it's ridiculous. Criminals don't say, okay, you got me, it was me. It just doesn't happen. So naturally, when someone hears, I didn't do it, you got the wrong place, you just discard it. You have an obligation to make sure that the rest of the place that you're doing a search warrant on is secure. There's nothing hidden. There's nothing, no one hiding. There's no weapons, period.
Okay, so you used the word naturally. And when you watch that video, naturally, a natural reaction would have been to provide her with some coverage for her naked body.
Have you ever been to police?
And so
have you ever been to police?
Let me finish my question. So a natural reaction was not what we saw from those white police officers.
A natural police reaction is to secure the scene.
So a natural police reaction is different from a natural
Well, we're
human
talking
reaction.
about police. We're not talking about you going into a building. We're talking about the police going into a building. The natural response for a police officer is to secure the scene first and foremost.
Hence why in the beginning of the question, I related it to training. So are police officers trained to not see black people as human? And so police training would make them naturally react to see me as an animal?
I'm not even going to dignify that with an answer because that's just an ignorant statement to make. They didn't go in there looking at a black woman. They went in there looking for an offender on a search warrant.
Who was not there.
Do you know that until you searched the whole place?
They did. They searched and she stood there naked.
And at that point,
after they had the scene secure, she still stood there naked.
Again, I already conceded the fact that they could have did a better job covering her up, but her race had nothing to do with it, and you're going to keep implying it, and I'm going to keep telling you you're absolutely wrong.
Let me ask you a question.
Is it a lack of training? Is it a lack of proper training?
No.
I think that there is a lack of compassion. I think it was, and I think it goes back to our whole premise, which, and I'll be honest with you, I think that from our standpoint, we don't believe that police often, you say they don't see race and the police reaction. My premise is that they don't see us in the same manner. They don't see us all the time as human. And I think that watching that happen, we felt like there was some appeal to our heart, right? And maybe there was no heart there. Yes, you will concede that I will give them every bit of the fact that they were police and doing their thing. I have witnessed, quote unquote, good police who say, man, even in this situation, this is a wrong way to handle this. And I think the ability, I think that reminded me, honestly, of watching like a movie like Roots. And watching a black woman.
Come on now, man.
Can you tell me how I feel, though? I'm telling you, all I can imagine is my mom, right? Standing there screaming and nobody and not being able to do anything. And I thought about if black officers had done that same thing to a white woman, and it was maybe not the police, but I'm going to tell you, somebody would have been riding up from down south talking about we're finna deal with that. And I think that the inability to see the compassion or lack of compassion in that is probably where
and you calling it natural, that's problematic.
You know,
again, you've never been the police, so you don't know what natural to police is.
You have never been a black person that has felt like the police is an occupying force.
We're talking about a police
and I'm talking about her response. Did you hear her?
But you're talking about the actions of the police. You cannot speak firsthand on the actions of the police.
I'm speaking firsthand for Anjanette Young, who was pleading naked.
Okay, good. You can speak for Anjanette Young.
You called it a natural reaction. That's the problem.
From the police side, it is a natural reaction to clear a location first.
They did it.
Period.
After they did it, why couldn't they cover up?
Again. We're going to keep hashing this over again. I said they could have did a better job of covering. They tried covering her up. Not with a big enough.
They tried.
So let me say this.
You're tripping, bro.
But here's what I'm going to say. This is what I'm going to say. And this is where I'm going to go. Here's the thing. You got to let people answer the question. You can't force them into the answer. And I think the key for us is for
I
you
did
to
answer the question.
I'm not debating you. I'm saying for us, right? So you have the question. We wanted to know, what did you see in Anjanette Young? He told us a police response. I'm still mad about it. I still don't like it, but that is his response. I can't change that response. It goes back to, what do they see when they see us, right? He said as a police response, I'm telling you, you have an interpretation as a police officer. We have an interpretation as black people. My fear, my hope, right, is that somewhere in the universe of police response that humanity makes it in there, right? And I think that the ability to watch a lady stand there naked, she ain't a senior citizen, but someone standing there naked all that time, you would hope that somebody had compassion. Can't make you have it, make you have the police response. Go ahead, Todd, you got a question.
Well, no, actually, I do have a question, but I was going to jump into that in the sense that after seeing the video, I think that that everybody was uncomfortable and traumatized. And that may go back to what Ruthie was saying in a sense of training, or what the manual says you're supposed to do, or what the supervisors should do. Because it seemed like the place was secure, and then everybody was kind of standing around, and they just didn't know what to do, and nobody stepped in to be the leader and say, okay, this is step 2. And that's why it just seemed to drag on out. And became, it was like listening to a child cry. When I hear a child cry, I get, the hair in the back of your neck stands up. That's
called a natural reaction.
Yeah, but I think everybody in the room had it, but they just didn't know what to do.
You can't speak for everybody in the room. You can't do that. He just told you police.
I can tell you what I think.
Okay, go ahead.
I think everybody probably in the room had it, because I think it's a natural reaction, just like Ruthie said. Everybody gets that feeling when they hear certain noises, but police are trained to react a different way than I'm going to react. Because I'm not running into rooms with people, so I understand that part. But the question I wanted to ask you was, do you think there is room for, when people say defund the police, I don't look at it as, you just, stop hiring officers and cut some. I think it's more of, there should be more things that come out of the police station, like things with Miss Young. She's clearly traumatized. She's clearly not guilty of anything. They broke her door down. You know, they looked a little like, I'm sorry, but, you know, all they really do is leave.
That's not true. That's not true. She actually shook the supervisor on scene's hand after they were done. He apologized that they had the wrong location. He made sure that they kept the car there and told her they would secure the door. You don't see all of that. So all of that was done. Again.
Who does that?
Who does what?
Like, does that come out of the police department's budget? Who secures the door?
Yes.
Yeah.
Wrong? Yes.
Okay.
Well, I mean, the city eventually.
Well, you're filling in some of the holes that I thought were there, so that's fine.
I would just say that.
But she shook the supervisor's hand when he apologized. He
No,
said,
no, I
sorry.
didn't say. I
So
said
I'm
she
just
probably
saying,
apologized.
There was
I
an
mean, he probably
amicable
apologized.
departure that day after that happened that you don't see on the video. But video, as good as it is for, you know, officers being able to articulate what they did and why they did it, is also the officer's worst nightmare, because everybody wants to play Monday morning quarterback now. Everybody wants to say what I would have did in a split-second decision in the heat of the moment. I would have did this instead. Well, that's really good when you're sitting on the comfort of your chair, drinking a latte, looking at it on your little iPhone, what you would have done.
You know,
but that wasn't my question. My question really was, that was just kind of an aside. My question really was, do you think there could be other services, or maybe they're there and I don't know, like a social service person comes out, you know, after the incident and tries to put everything together for
That's above my pay grade, Todd. I mean, the city certainly has those services. Whether they're implemented after the fact, after a police action, I would probably say not, but I don't know for sure.
Well, that's why I'm thinking that they would be actually connected to the department itself. And I think there could be other things that, I don't know, maybe they don't use, but, you know, we saw that chase where people getting car wrecks and stuff. I mean, don't they have those non-lethal things where they, you know, throw out a big thing and they run over and bust all their tires, or they put a big old foam thing in, the guy runs into it? I'm just wondering why we don't have those type of things to kind of have a non-lethal response, but stop somebody who we know or really suspect has done something.
So spike strips you're talking about, flattened tires. Do we have them? I don't think we do. And if we do, I don't know them ever being deployed. I could tell you that. They're almost impossible in city streets because there's so many different options for cars to turn and avoid them, number one. Number two, and that's what that topic specifically, the riots last year, you know, the looting and rioting.
Uprisings.
Yeah, rioting,
Uprisings.
looting. Yeah, uprising.
Uprisings.
Yeah, okay.
I'm 50-50 on that.
So,
of course.
I literally watched on podcams car caravans driving all over Roosevelt Road, downtown, breaking into stores, jumping their cars, go to the next. And all I said from day one was, why not empower the officers to cut tires so these cars can't keep driving everywhere? It has the same effect, but it would have stopped a lot of the rioting and looting because the majority of it was done by car caravans. It wasn't people on feet running 6 blocks down to the next store. It was a bunch of cars pulling up, breaking windows, stealing what they could, jumping in cars and going.
I saw them.
So, I mean, that tool is very effective, but specific to car chases, again, you know, not. At what point do we start blaming criminals for the behavior and the condition of this city? You can't keep saying that we have to curtail police action more and more and more. Now they want to redo a chase policy where they're talking about, I have to call a sergeant. Hey, sergeant, I got this subject. I think he's the offender in a rape of a never mind. He's already down the block and gone. I mean, how stupid are we even talking here? We're empowering criminals more and more every day. It happened in the lame duck session down in Springfield with that quote-unquote reform bill, which did nothing really to reform more than it did hand the keys of this city over to the criminals. I mean, when does it stop? If people don't understand the dynamic we're facing, we're eventually going to be Detroit circa 1990 very soon here.
Is that code?
No,
you know,
it's
I went
code
out.
For what?
What does Detroit mean?
It's code for a city that's unlivable.
Uh-oh.
In 1990,
Anything?
Detroit has made a rebound. There's no doubt about it. But it was absolutely destitute back then. And what happens? Where do you think all the money comes from? It comes from taxes. It comes from businesses. When those businesses leave and they don't come back, where do you think all the city services are going to come from? Where do you think the police protection is going to come from in the most desperate neighborhoods that need it? They're going to be gone. There's going to be no police. This defunding movement is ridiculous. That phrase fell flat on its face. So what was the default plan? Let's make the job so undesirable that nobody wants to be the police anymore. And you're going to have a mass exodus with no replacements in sight. And by default, you're going to have 20% less police on the police department. And then you can scream, well, they don't need that big budget anymore. Now we could take that money and do something else. It's absolutely ridiculous way of looking at civilized society.
I have a question related to that topic from social. So this is from JM. I'm not going to say your whole name, but how do you feel about whites policing whites, Hispanics policing Hispanics, and blacks policing blacks?
Ridiculous. I already touched on everything being race-based and how stupid that whole concept is.
So let me ask a question. Well, but if you know that the people that are coming, that are entering our neighborhoods, let me back up because it goes back to my other question. One of the things that
well,
because I can dovetail into this.
Well, but I could also expound a little more. So let me get this right. The problem with the police department is that white officers don't relate to black citizens.
No, they kill them.
We treat them different. Okay, that's so ridiculous to even say. The fact that you sit here now and say we're treated different because we're black, and now you're saying, well, that's wrong because I'm looking at you as a black person instead of a human being, but now you make an inference that we should have policing based on race. What's the difference? You're being just as bad as the people you're accusing of.
Except we live.
Everything is based on race.
I would say except that we have a better chance.
How many people
of
were killed by black people last year in the city of Chicago?
I'm not worried about that. I'm worried about the people that I pay my tax dollars.
Well, you're not worried about that. So you're not worried about that poor 7-year-old girl that was executed in a McDonald's parking lot. No, you just said you weren't worried about her. You're worried about the ones that killed. No, that's what you said.
Okay.
That's what you said.
So
you're not worried about her.
You're
worried about the ones that the police killed.
Okay.
Shame on you.
I am worried about all of the deaths. But I don't want to pay to be killed. Okay? I don't want to pay to be killed. Now let me back up.
Then don't carry a gun. You know what? You know what all of those situations have in common?
What?
A failure to comply. Whether you agree with
whether you comply or not, though, you still can wind up dead.
That's
Do
not
you
true.
agree?
You show me a situation where a police officer killed somebody, even with a weapon, that complied with their direct orders.
What's my man? I can't even say his name now. They ain't got me. George Floyd. He was
resisting arrest. Again, let me finish.
He was urinating on himself.
Stop. Can I finish?
Go ahead. Sure.
And Leo Tyrell on Fox News said it best. The use of force was justified up until the point George Floyd stopped breathing. At that point, it became excessive. 100% accurate as it can be. When he was resisting arrest, you have every authority to use force. Period.
Is that force the same when they use it? Do they use the same amount of force on black people and white people? Because
yes.
Why does it seem then, sir, that we always see black people dead, and we very rare? I was just watching a video. No, I'm not even watching the video. Why does it seem like black people wind up dead in their interactions? I have not seen a video, a tape, anything in Chicago at least of. Do white people not commit crime? Do they not resist arrest? Do they not carry weapons?
There's more white people killed by the police than black in this country.
That's because there's more white people in the country. Now let's talk about percentage-wise. Let's talk about percentage-wise. So my question is in Chicago, though. I'm not talking about the country. I'm talking about Chicago because maybe I missed it. Have we ever seen here recently in the last 2 years an opportunity where the police had to kill a white person? Like kill them for not complying? Do white people always comply? Because I can't recall. I can't recall any time. I cannot recall any time in the last, let's just say 5 years, since Laquan McDonald. I cannot recall a video, a incident, a time when we've seen a white person dead. Now, I'm going to suggest that maybe white people don't commit crime. None of them come from off of 290. None of them come through the neighborhood. None of them create a whole market. None of them get drunk. None of them have fights at bars. None of them do carry weapons. Only black people. Oh, and Adam Toledo.
Well, Adam Toledo was Hispanic.
I usually don't do that, but I'm asking you, sir.
And again.
And I'm saying that respectfully.
Throwing that Adam Toledo thing in is ridiculous because there was absolutely nothing wrong with that shooting. But it's a little grandiose to sit here and pontificate about no white people do anything wrong. It's ridiculous. The stats
And
tell
he did?
The stats tell you otherwise. Not off the top of my head that I could think of. Does that mean it hasn't happened? No, I guarantee you it's happened. I just can't come up with a name or a situation. But comply makes all the difference in the world.
If you're black.
Can I finish?
Go.
What? No, period. If you feel the officer is wrong in what they're telling you to do, then fight it another day, make a complaint, let it go that route. But comply with the initial thing. People think they can do, and I know you're going to say I said people, and this is a broad term all across this country. People think that they can do whatever they want. They don't have to answer for their actions anymore. They're totally independent of law and order. If you comply with the police officer's lawful orders, whether you agree with them or not, you have a 99.999% chance of going home alive that day. Period.
Speaking of going home alive, one of the things that I often hear is that the police officers want to go home alive, right? Like every day they go out on the streets and with the implication that perhaps they're scared or fearful for their lives in their jobs regularly. Do you think police officers are fearful when they enter into certain neighborhoods for their lives?
I think it was Chris Cuomo the other day who asked me this goofy question specific to Toledo. Why does it matter that he was a gangbanger? It matters very much so when an officer is responding to a scene. You take the totality of a situation when you get an assignment. If you're going to a church for a disturbance, you're going to go into that situation in a much different state of mind than you are in the middle of a gunfight. I mean, you're just not going to go in amped up. You're going where there's shots being fired, you're going to go in amped up. When it comes to race, I don't necessarily, I wouldn't agree that a race makes a difference in how an officer goes into a scene as much as the circumstances attached to it.
So if you have never, so I guess my question there really goes a little bit deeper. Because I feel like police officers, when I hear them say first of all, I hear oftentimes when we see somebody dead, I fear for my life, right? Which I think is code word for kill this month, right? I need an excuse and I can say that. But the other part that I often question is when we hear to me, an officer of the police, a police officer of the police, the police officer has been put at a higher level, should be held to a higher standard because they have the power of life and death, right? And I often am concerned that if you are placed in a place where you are nervous, you are scared, you're a new officer you move into and you get assigned to the 6th district, right? And you came from Beverly and you ain't never really had to interact because there was a bubble around you. And now you are dropped dead into, and every piece of stereotype, every bit of stereotype, every bit of everything that you've heard about those people, you may see in some cases. Does that play into how you deal with or interact or value the life of those people realistically?
No, and I'm going to take exception to your whole scenario you put there, as if being in fear of your life is not a valid response for a police officer. It is part of the statute. You have to be in fear of your life or in fear of the life of and protecting someone else's life. That's part of the statute in the state of Illinois. That is the reason why you use deadly force. So when an officer says, I shot because I was in fear of my life, it's a valid response. It may sound robotic and repetitive, but that is part of the statute.
I'm not going to debate that.
And unless you've ever been shot at or had a gun to your head,
I have.
Okay, and you weren't in fear of your life?
Hell yeah.
Why did you just stand there and say you can't get me?
But I'm suggesting that if you get out of a situation with a gun in your is there do you have to patrol Inglewood? Do you have to police different do you have to police black communities differently than you have to police white communities?
Do you have to?
Is it necessary to be effective?
Well, it kind of goes off the other earlier comment about being a little more human. Again, is there more violence in certain neighborhoods? Absolutely. But does that mean that everybody in that neighborhood's violent? Absolutely not. That is where the humanity part comes in. We know for a fact that there are people who are held hostage in their house because they don't feel that it's safe to go outside, even on their own sidewalk. Those are the people that you need to have empathy for and understand that they're just as affected by everything that goes on in the district that you're working that you are. And to say an officer is not affected or traumatized by repetitive daily experiences that are on the job is disingenuous, to say the least. When you're working, and I just had a really good lifelong friend retire out of Inglewood, white officer, spent his whole career in Inglewood, stand-up guy. No one's going to say anything bad or that he was unfair when he worked in Inglewood for 29 years. But to say that 29 years in Inglewood wouldn't affect any officer, black, white, Hispanic, or otherwise, you're out of your damn mind. I mean, to see the trauma that you're experienced every day, whether it's domesticating, whether it's killings, stabbings, junkies, you name it, it has a cumulative effect on an officer that nobody seems to give a damn about.
I think that same trauma also has cumulative effects of the people that live in the communities.
Agreed.
And so it's a vicious cycle, and it's a balancing act in between black communities feeling like we need police to protect us, but also feeling fearful of the police. And so you kind of talked earlier about how unions are supposed to fight for its members. And so I've heard you be pretty critical of CPS. So I'm curious, how do you feel about the Chicago Teachers Union advocating for their constituents in the same way that you advocate for your union membership?
Well, let me just say, I don't know the stats as of the last couple of years, but I know when I was at Hubbard High School, I've seen time and time again misconduct by teachers. I've seen teachers throw kids into a radiator to break up a fight. And I mean literally by the backpack. And that teacher was back in school 2 weeks later. Teachers outnumber police 4-1 in this city. But yet we get fired at a 10-1 ratio over teachers. Explain that to me. Teachers are taken out of a school, hidden somewhere else, and put in a corner in a timeout or reallocated and hired by another principal. They're not fired from their job. So again, who protects the bad apples here? And those are the ones that are teaching the kids.
Well, damn. I think the only outcome, the only difference is, I got to say it, is the outcome of death. Let me ask you this, John. Do you think that is there room for improvement in the relationships between police and black folks? And what role do police play in it?
Absolutely. Listen, we're all on this planet together. I mean, let me touch on another point that Ruthie made with the neighborhoods and the people who are also subjected to those same circumstances on a daily basis, sometimes for a whole lifetime, 40, 50, 60 years, twice as much as the average police officer. The police didn't create the policies and the conditions within those neighborhoods. The politicians did. The same politicians that promise the sky and deliver the dirt at their feet. They don't do anything that they say they're going to do every 4 years. And, Mr. George Blakemore, because he doesn't like me calling him George.
Go ahead, Mr. Blakemore. He don't like nobody calling him George.
Well, sometimes, but the last couple of times, not so much. But, a lot of people have a lot of things to say about Mr. Blakemore, but I could tell you when he goes to city council and tells them that, and I can't use the word Uncle Tom, but he does, and he is 100% right in many ways that they sell out their own communities election after election after election for their own purposes. They are very similar to the problem that was at the FOP. It's me, me, me. How do I get elected? And I'll do whatever and say whatever I need to do to get reelected. But there is no real lasting changes in the neighborhoods that they supposedly represent. That's just the simple reality. And the drivers of 3653 in Springfield, namely Representative Slaughter and Senator Sims, and even now Representative Tarver, they represent some of the most violent neighborhoods that part of this city is a bloodbath, a washing of bloodbath. And what do? They want to make it easier for criminals and have less repercussions for breaking the law. It just doesn't, it defies logic, but nobody challenges them on what they're doing and what the effects and how it's going to change the dynamics within these communities over 5, 10, 20 years. It's just not. It's going to be more of the same.
John, how do we fix it from your perspective? Like,
start holding people accountable. Let's quit electing the same politicians over and over and over again. And again, we've been very outspoken about State's Attorney Fox and her inability to really have an understanding of what matters. And the fact that she was reelected by the same communities that are affected most by crime in this county is just head scratching to law enforcement. Maybe
can I tell you why probably you might not understand it, and I'm saying this 100% genuinely. I think you may not understand it because I think there may be a different level of understanding, like, for instance, for the Burge situation, for the fact that black people know that they can be, they say it's better one person, everybody guilty go free, than one person be convicted innocently. That's like a super great ideal in the country, right?
But stupid.
It's the ideal that we
idealistic,
built it on,
but
right.
Stupid.
And so even in whether it's stupid or not, disproportionately the people who are the victims of that, as we've seen these mass exonerations, tend to be black folks. And so you got to say to yourself, and I think Ruthie has hit this, we are damned if we do, we damned if we don't. I think that we do live in communities where there is a need, I don't want to say a need for policing, but we do have issues in those communities. The challenge for us is that we know we have internal issues, but as the assault from the external issues are coming, we got to figure out how we deal with that. It's crazy to feel like the people that you call could potentially be the same people for assistance, could potentially be the same people, whether it is implicit bias, whether it is 29 years of working in a neighborhood and making the presumption that you could wind up dead in that same situation. And I don't think it's the norm.
You know what? Dead is dead. Whether, and I'm not trying to trivialize it, but whether it's in your scenario by the people you pay, or more likely, very much more likely, by someone in your own neighborhood, dead is dead. I don't know how to the dead person it makes a difference how they got dead.
I think it is. If you picked up the phone, on the way to death, if you picked up the phone to get help. I don't think a dead person's going
to say, I told you so.
But they're dead. And right. if it was my family and they was calling to get your help and they died, I'd have a problem. Let me go.
You should have a problem for all of it. That's my point.
I do. I have a problem with everybody.
But you're focusing on one aspect of it.
No, when I'm talking to you, I'm focused on this aspect of it. When I'm talking to my people, I'm talking about a whole nother conversation about our accountability, right? There is a level of accountability that has to happen in the black community. Now, that's not a conversation that
What's getting more traction right now? What's getting more traction for the last 5 years? What's the loudest voice in the room for the last 10 years? Police, police, police. Not the neighborhoods.
But that's that's from your ear.
Everywhere. Every news organization, media, person with a microphone, they grease the wheels of the squeak, and it's always the police, 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 because that gets ratings, that generates revenue, blah, blah, blah. It isn't about addressing the situations that cause crime in neighborhoods, that make certain neighborhoods bloodbaths every summer. I mean, we had a record number increase, and it isn't lost on many people. I mean, sadly some, but most people understand the dynamic that it wasn't just a Chicago increase last year. There was a nationwide increase in violent crime all over this country. At the same time, defund the police and less policing was championed everywhere. Do you not see the correlation between the two? And even on top of last year's record numbers across the country, it's even ahead of last year's pace this year by 30%. Does that not frighten anybody? And I got to tell you, there wasn't any George Floyd's or Laquan McDonald's in those statistics, period. But no one seems to give a damn about the 7-year-olds, the 17-year-old who caught a bullet less than a mile away from where Adam Toledo was killed by someone that was shooting at a car. And the same thing that Adam Toledo and his partner were doing that night, shooting at a passing vehicle, attempted murder. But nobody wants to talk about that. You want to focus on the fact that the police were involved in a deadly shooting, not that they were 90 seconds before that trying to kill somebody in a passing vehicle.
You got to okay, but I got you.
But
in
no,
the general,
that doesn't get traction. If you did talk about it, no one knows about it. That's just the reality.
They do. They was tuned in last week.
Well,
so we talked about that, and we will say this, right? The Adam Toledo thing, I think it's 0.8 of a second. I think they can pick which picture they want to show, and then that makes that situation happen. What I will tell you, John, is that I think that it doesn't get traction maybe where you look. I think we all have different circles. And I'm talking about the death of the 7-year-old. The 7-year-old is an issue that the black community is working to deal with now. But I'm going to move on because it's time for us. We got to wrap this because we got to go to the next. Well, first of all, I want to tell you thank you. Like, you went the whole hour and you did something. You're more than welcome to stay the rest of the thing because I'm sure Ruthie got some more questions. You got more questions you want to get out?
Yes, she does.
Yes, she does. And hold on. Okay, go ahead. Go ahead, Ruthie. Go ahead. No, this is good, though. It's good that you talk.
All right. So just hear me out.
Let her finish, John.
We know all across the country, right, during the Capitol riots, or do you consider those to be riots?
Yes.
Ooh. Okay, you paused. So you had some colorful language surrounding that, which you did recant after you saw some more video, you saw some more evidence, and you said, hold on, I can't really defend this. So across America, white supremacy is like the buzzword. Joe Biden said it during his inauguration. So we know that white supremacy is the buzzword throughout the systems that permeate America. Now, I know that I did some research, and you don't like the word systemic racism being used to identify the Chicago Police Department, correct?
Correct.
Okay. So if white supremacy is experiencing cancel culture all across the country, and we know that the defund the police movement is also in full effect, it is inevitable that the system that has been used to control a segment of society, i.e. the police, we know that it's about to come to an end. And so just as being a white man, right, how do you feel about the impending power that y'all about to lose?
Listen, I firmly support the Second Amendment, so I ain't worried about it because I'll be tucked away somewhere, retired, and God forbid someone comes for me, they better be right with Jesus. I'm going to tell you that right now. I'm not worried about that. But you talk about Joe Biden talking about white supremacy. Mm-hmm. It's really amazing that Joe Biden speaks and it's gospel. What about anything the president just, because a president says something that makes it factual? No. Because that wasn't the case with President Trump, I assure you. You would probably didn't care a damn word that came out of his mouth.
We knew he was lying.
Thank you. We knew he was lying.
But we did know he was lying. And I am different than Ruthie's a fighter. And I'm a lover. No, I'm just kidding. But there was a difference between what he was doing when we know it. I think everybody knew it, but people were willing.
But I'm making the point. Just because Joe Biden or the president
people were
says
willing
something,
to accept what he said because they wanted to hear it. And I think that's what we really found out through that whole election is that this whole white supremacy thing is like abortion. It's like 50% on this side and 50% on that side. The nation is just like cut in two.
And the more we talk, everything being race-based, and again, you want to talk about, you think the police are going to be abolished?
No. I didn't say that.
You said your power is going to be gone. You're going to be done. They're going to go away.
White supremacy. So are you equating the police department with white supremacy?
No, you did. I didn't.
You just did, Mr.
No, I did not.
You, sir. Yes, you did.
How did I do that? How did I do that? No, don't put words in my mouth. How did I do that?
We can run the tape back. You did, which means that you have an unconscious bias.
No, you're wrong. And you're lying. I did not say white supremacy and the police force were the same thing. You're the one who said, what are you going to do when your power is gone?
Yes.
So you're calling me a white supremacist.
Nope. I'm saying that.
What power then? The police power or the white supremacist power?
Sir, I am also well versed in the art of the spin. And so you cannot spin me. I know what I said. I know what you said. My question to you is you represent the face of the Chicago Police Department. You represent a particular face of the Chicago Police Department. And I know that you have a particular job, like you have a particular rhetoric, like you represent your people. I'm not mad at you.
Who's my people?
White people.
Police. Oh, that's
white
your
people.
Thank you. No, he had it right. You had it wrong.
No, white people.
I represent the police.
But you represent
black, white, Hispanic, brown, you name it.
It's a certain type of system that you represent. And so my only observation was that power is coming to an end in America. And I know it's scary. And the police are the ones
that are
condescending. And the police are the ones that are being used to keep that. Let me finish my point. The police are the force that is used to keep that system in place. And it has to be scary for it to be coming to an end. So like what you just said about the Second Amendment, you gave me the answer that I was looking for, is what you going to do about that. And you already said, I got my gun, I'm good.
I think that's a very good point, right? I think we all need to pay attention. John, we got to wrap this. So first of all, let me tell you, thank you for coming. Like and I'm going to say this, you are more than welcome to come back as we talk about issues, I think
Hold on, Mace. No, I don't have to. But anyway, I did want to say, I was just reading a comment. I was responding to it. But I did want to say before you leave, that the police are part of a bigger puzzle, I think, that black people don't have a lot of faith in. And it goes to the police arrest you, the state's attorney is hell-bent on giving you a charge in some face or fashion. Most people probably don't even look at it that way, and now that we have a different state's attorney, you're right, things have changed a little bit. But the state's attorney has always tried to put people in jail. The first thing they do when they arrest a black youth is, what gang you're in. Everybody's not in the gang.
They do it for brown, white. They ask everybody of a certain...
Oh, I know they do it for brown, too, for sure.
Well, okay.
How many white people in jail? I'm going to stop. I'm going to let that go.
Where's all the crime happening? In Chicago.
In the white people's neighborhoods, they do.
Where, really?
Yeah.
Really?
Or they bringing it.
Lay a map of the shootings and homicides.
Let's lay a map of all the drug deals and all the people pushing it.
Okay, regardless, the crime is happening in certain communities in this city. Quit ignoring it.
I'm not ignoring it. Do you have to police black people differently?
Differently? Yes. No, but there's more crime in black neighborhoods. That's just the reality of Chicago, whether you want to admit it or not.
Okay.
So, of course, that's where you're going to have police interactions. Of course, that's where you're going to have officers stopping vehicles for minor traffic violations, seeing what else is going on, because that's where the criminal activity predominantly is occurring. It's simple logic. And for people to want to bury their head in the sand and pretend like it's not reality is beyond ridiculous. And I'm just going to clarify something. I still take exception, and it kind of pisses me off that your condescending tone, Ruthie, was about...
Hold on. What was the condescending tone about what?
Come on now.
That my white power is coming to an end.
Does that bother you?
No, because it's so infactual. And again,
Isn't that white power is not coming to end?
I do not have anything to do with white power, white supremacy whatsoever. I represent everybody in the Chicago Police Department evenly across the board, regardless of gender or race.
So, John, here's what I think, and I think maybe you probably didn't understand, or I want to just make sure that we are clear on this. I think that here, as I told you before, we believe that the basis of policing, the root of policing came from the protection of property, which at that time was chattel slavery. And I think that since its inception, police have been in place to protect property, right? And we at one point were property, and we don't know that has ever changed. Like, I don't think anybody says, they're property, but the mentality as it related to having police was to protect white society from the uprising slaves, the people that were running away, etc. I'm just telling you, you're looking confused. And
because do you know Irish were slaves too? So stop.
And let's back up, John.
But they were still property, right?
I'm not debating it. I'm not going to go there. But and when they were released, then what they did was they moved into the space of policing, right, to be able to control the slaves. And
they left the country. They were like, we need to get out of here. and they came here.
They came back. But so my point, John, I think, and when she said, I don't think police in our mind in general were set up to protect the system of white supremacy in general. Just like to protect white people from the natives. No, seriously. From the uprising slaves, the people who had superhuman strength when they do drugs, right? All the stuff we heard in the Derek Chauvin trial. And so I think what Ruthie was talking about as we get to this point of defunding police, how do you feel about, because it seems like you do believe that we're rapidly approaching not a state of anarchy, but a state of like where it's gonna be you have to defend your own self. And I think you actually said that, right? And not from the standpoint of, I'm a white supremacist. You said it from the standpoint of like, I see this thing devolving and I'm gonna go retire. I'm gonna go get my gun and I'm gonna be on my farm and just stay away from me. Right? That fair?
That's fair.
Okay. And so I think that is essentially what we were saying. I don't think that, I'm not going to speak for Ruthie, but I think that in our mind, The police department is put in place, not John Cantanzara, but the police department in and of itself is a tool of protecting white supremacy. Now, for you, that's not the same. You say it's more like protecting the same old politicians doing the same old thing, etc. We just have a different perspective. I'm still going to say this again. I appreciate you coming here. I appreciate you having the conversation. Now, I'm not going to never let you pick on my girl, Ruthie. I'm just telling you, right? But I think that it is so important for people to talk. And I hope that we gave you the opportunity to express yourself, right? Like, not to guide. We got our questions, but because I think that as Chicago, we know who Chicago is. And I'm going to just be honest with you, bro. I know that there are the Southwest side Irish, just like it's the Southeast side black people. And I think we try to pretend like this isn't the city of Chicago and it has all of its interesting pieces. And so I thought it was important for you to come here. I think that even when we're having these difficult conversations, whether it's the Adam Toledo shooting, whether it is because you'd be surprised at my thoughts on that one. But all of these things, I want to keep the door open, right? I want to be able to, because I think it's important for our community to hear from the representative from your community, because our interactions are life and death in so many times. I got to close with this, and then I'm going to let you. Well, actually, I'll let you go. You go.
The fact that I represent every member of my union equally is the reason I'm here right now. If I didn't give a damn about the black officers, I wouldn't reach out. I'm willing to sit down and talk to anybody, anywhere, anytime. I have no problem defending what we do, how we do it, and why we do it for every single one of our members to anybody that wants to have that conversation, because I understand that my members encompass a broad, diverse segment of this city. I got a lot of pushback, a lot of warnings to not go on CNN. Don't go on CNN. Chris Cuomo hates the police. You're not going to get anything out of that. You're not. I said, but it doesn't matter. We have to be able to engage everybody, anywhere, anytime. That's just my motto.
So in that, I got a message from a black cop who's watching. Why is there so much racial tension in the police department? Blacks can't get into certain units, but whites with less than 5 years on working in the headquarters and training academy. Please send this to Mays for me. How can we as police trust you when you represented the police department for Trump without our knowledge? I'm just reading the questions.
Well, first of all, the presidential endorsement comes from the Grand Lodge. The National FOP makes that decision, and that's the way it goes. Okay. Did we support that decision? Absolutely, because we believe that President Trump was much more on the law and order side of business than President Biden would have been. President Biden is my president. That's just a simple reality right now. I mean, whether I agree with him or not is irrelevant. I mean, I voted for President Obama the first time. I didn't vote for him the second time because I didn't like what he did the first time. But again, you kind of pick and choose. Specific to his question about units, that has nothing to do with the FOP. We do not control who gets assigned where. That is a department issue by the brass within this department. If he has an issue with that, he needs to take it up with the department. I mean, we fight about this all the time.
Will you give him? Could he come to the union and get support?
My door is open for any member, anytime. I've said that from day one. So this whole scenario or implication that the lodge doesn't represent black officers. I literally had a black officer a couple meetings ago at the microphone tell me F you. And I said, have you ever been to a meeting before? Have you ever come and made an appointment to schedule to sit down with me? No. But 3 days later, he was in my office. We had an hour and 20-minute conversation. Again, they're my members. I'm going to speak to anyone and address their concerns as best we can.
Hey, I'm going to tell you, a lot of people, and I just need to say this for the record for our audience, there are a lot of people who refuse to come see us, who refuse to come talk to us, who are like, there's no way I'm going to talk to him. He's racist, whatever. So I got to, and for our audience, you have to respect the fact that he came into the den. Like, you got to do that. And the willingness to stand up and to address the issues head on. I don't necessarily agree with your answers, but I don't think that that's how the world works. I don't think we're always going to agree, but I do think that we have to be able to have a dialogue. I got this one, and then I'm going to wrap up. So the first time I saw you, first time I was completely aware of you was when I'm trying to get my camera angle right. All right, there you go. All right. So the first time I saw or heard of you, you had a post. It was a post of you outside of a police car with a flag. And I can't remember exactly all the words, but it was a Donald Trump post. And we commented on it, and it turned out to be my biggest post of the year, right? And I think it revolved around Colin Kaepernick and the kneeling and all of that good stuff. And so I got to ask this. Here we are 4 years later, right? And the post was around Colin Kaepernick kneeling and the whole thing. And after watching Derek Chauvin, right, kneel on the neck of George Floyd for 11 minutes, kill this man, can I get you to say Colin was right?
No, and specifically,
damn,
because you weren't right about the description of the picture either. It did not say President Trump anywhere in that picture.
I got you. Right, you couldn't because it was political. Right.
No, I could have, but I specifically didn't because I didn't want it to say Trump because that would have given everybody the red meat they were looking for. It specifically said, my president, period, regardless of who that person was. Mm-hmm. But it wasn't even about Kaepernick. A couple days before that, 2 officers in the 6th District kneeled with Inglewood Barbie.
I remember that.
All right. So after that incident, Rahm Emanuel, the mayor, said he applauded those officers' participation and willingness to take and do community outreach with an activist like that, even though it absolutely violated department policy. The reason I did what I did was to challenge to see if I was going to get the same treatment from the department making a political statement like they did, period, because they were absolutely in violation of department policy, and the mayor of Chicago was saying it's okay. So then was it okay for everybody? That was the only reason I did it, to challenge the powers that be to see what was going to happen to me.
Was it okay for everybody?
Was it okay?
What happened to you?
Well, from the department perspective, we were both given verbal reprimands.
Okay.
They got them the same as I did. But again, within 7 hours of that picture going out, I was fired from a part-time job at another school after work, which, again, everybody loved me till that picture was seen. Now all of a sudden, I'm a racist. I'm the guy in the white hood. And I was dumped out of Hubbard High School the very next morning after 4 years of doing everything I could for those kids to give them a better life, black, brown, or otherwise. So it just goes to show you the knee-jerk stupidity that comes from things like that and how quickly people are to judge others, including a white man.
Colin, though, straight up.
What?
Can he take the knee? I mean, is he right for taking the knee? Where you at on that? I'm just curious now.
No, I don't think anybody should be taking a knee during the anthem.
You don't think that they have that our soldiers
they have the
fought
right
for that?
Sure, they have the right for doing that.
Okay.
And we have the right to not watch professional sports anymore.
Do you watch professional sports?
I do not.
You don't watch football?
None of them.
Nothing.
None of them. They could all take a flying leap. Entertainer. I'm done with celebrities in general. What about LeBron's ignorant? Did you see what LeBron posted yesterday?
I don't pay attention. I'm Michael Jordan, bro.
The sergeant.
Jordan, dog. Where you from Chicago?
Well, I agree. And that was probably,
Chicago, man. What you talking about? But I don't even know what
I was there with you. 23 was the man, but that is the only 23. But the sergeant in Columbus that shot that 15-year-old who was trying to stab another girl in defense of another person's life, he tragically had to take a teenager's life. But LeBron literally posted a picture of him standing on scene and said, "You're next." How do you like that? But then he deleted it because he realized how stupid it was. Well, what would happen if a white person did that? You're next.
The Latinos just did
it. What would have happened? What would have happened if a white sports person would have done that?
They would have got fired, probably.
Yeah, but not LeBron, right? It's okay for him. So where's the fairness?
He got black power, man. Black power.
So you see what
Finally,
I mean?
we got some power.
No. First, you got to be the best at what you do. Then you can get away with a lot.
Okay, so if Larry Bird would have did that, what would have happened to him? He would have been persecuted and thrown off. He would have been forced out of the league.
But he wouldn't. He would have been on Boston till the end.
He'd have been Boston. The Boston. He would have got his jersey. Would have been the number one. Have
you ever been to Boston?
You know,
come on, Boston. They don't. Come on now. You can't even front.
You know it's Boston.
You can't even front. You know Boston is Boston, dog.
Okay, well I'm talking the NBA. The NBA would have taken action against them.
No, they wouldn't.
They need absolutely. That space. Come on now.
Nah, he generated too much money. God. Money rules the world. You know that.
No doubt, and that's why he's going to get away with what he did, even though it was absolutely ignorant and just disrespectful.
Dang, man. I'm gonna tell.
I don't know him, but it sounds like he had a bad moment, but he got over it.
I'm gonna tell you, man. He got enough money. Ain't nobody.
No, his PR person said, "Hey, that's probably not a good idea."
You're gonna stop selling shoes. You'll lose half of your guys in the South. Hey, man. I'm gonna tell y'all. We blew through every break. We didn't take a commercial except for John had a moment.
You had a commercial?
We took a commercial.
Senior moment.
John.
I had to recap.
Oh, I thought it was see, man, you blowing it, man. I was gonna let it be a tear moment.
You hit 50,
then
you start to forget stuff sometimes.
I thought it was could have been a great sentimental moment, right? And we could have, but I am gonna say, Ruthie, you got anything else before one more shot in the gun?
Nope. Thank you so much for coming on. Thanks. I know that it is difficult to sit across the aisle with people who have opposing viewpoints, and so. Thank you.
You did it. I can do it. We're good.
I don't know. You got a little upset. You're gonna have to work on your,
No, because
on your,
No, you were being disingenuous.
Ruthie's never disingenuous.
You were implying that I was supporting white supremacy, and I have a major problem with that.
What's your thought about what happened with the riots at the Capitol?
Again, Ruthie touched on it, and I clarified this, and I will never speak to BEZ again because of it, because it was slanted a certain way. The information I had at the time I had that phone call and picked it up was exactly accurate what I said to him. I had seen maybe 6-7 minutes of news coverage between CNN and Fox at that time. I was out of town for a conference, and I had come back, turned on the TV, saw a little bit of it when he called. I did not hear anything about an officer, and as it turned out, he actually had a stroke. He wasn't killed by the but whatever, that's regardless. But how come no one's, I'm curious, and I'm not champion for the officer to have repercussions, but nobody cared about the white woman that was shot by the police officer that was unarmed. How come no one made a big deal about that?
Was she resistant?
That's white.
Was she resistant?
You gotta ask the white press, man.
She was not complying with orders.
Well, she should have complied.
She should have complied. So
then it's okay. So then it's okay, is what you're saying.
Depends
That's my
on
point.
what you call complications.
My point is, how
no,
come
that was called condescending. That was me being condescending and facetious.
Hypocritical, I like to call it.
Oh my God.
More hypocritical.
I'm gonna tell y'all, this has been good. John, I'm gonna give you an opportunity to close, man. You got anything else you want to say to the people? Look, hold on. Let me see that camera right there. Look dead into the camera, because the people. I'm gonna tell you, you've been one of our most. Yep, the one right next to Todd. Yep.
Doesn't look like it's pointing that way.
It's pointing that way. It's right at you.
Again, all I can tell you is the FOP is not your father's FOP. We are absolutely dedicated to doing outreach and changing the dynamic of what our officers do every day and are perceived, because perception is reality a lot of the times. Mm-hmm. And we get it. We're trying to encourage our officers to be a little more human and have a little more tact in how they approach every situation. The reality is sometimes you just have to react in a split-second notice. Just stop the Monday morning quarterbacking. And when you see a video, let the facts come out. I know it's so intuitive to today's society. Somebody sees something, they got to be on Facebook within 90 seconds, posting their comments, and the whole world needs to know what they believe. It needs to just slow down a little bit and digest. The same situations that police have been accused of overreacting in a split second is the same thing now people are doing towards the police. It's an immediate reaction, when that's what we've been accused of being wrong about, knee-jerk reactions to everything, and the police's first response is always this. Well, the public's first response is always this now, and it's anti-police. Again, we need to find a middle ground. We're all on this rock for a little while, some longer than others. We just got to figure out a way to get along and make the best of it.
Hey, John, I appreciate you coming on, and I guess I'd be remiss because they texted me. Hey, man, any truth to any of this stuff we've been hearing around here lately? I know the mayor's around here threatening people and all type of stuff, but hey, man, some of this.
I will tell you the same thing I said last night at my general membership meeting. I'm accused of having some sort of video evidence. I assure you, if I had any video evidence, I would have already had a press conference on the front lawn. I don't know anything from anything. I don't know nothing. I don't have any proof. All I know is...
Come on, man. You make some news.
No.
Make some news, man. All you know. Come on.
I know the news media is not letting it go. I got other things to worry about. That'll pan out the way it pans out. I got to worry about a contract for my members who haven't had a contract and coming up in 4 years. Every other union in this city has gotten paid. We're not even, and the city has played this game from day one. They keep saying that they need X, Y, and Z in order to give our officers the retro pay for the 4 years that they have already worked. That's not how it should work. They already did that time and should get compensated accordingly, including during the most violent, turbulent times that I can remember in my lifetime last summer. But the city wants to keep playing games.
Being a pot stirrer myself, do you think that you being involved is going to be, they're going to make you detrimental to the negotiations? I know that they tend to do things like that where they say, well, if it wasn't fair.
Well, that's kind of a ridiculous way to look at it, because the reality is, the mayor doesn't like me any more than I like her, but she has to deal with me, in theory, just like I have to deal with her. She didn't have any time.
She call you a lot of names,
well, man. I've been called worse. Buy better. That being said, she had no problem interjecting herself into CTU negotiations, but she has not participated in ours anytime at all. I've looked across the table at the city's negotiating team, and I said, can any of you over there say yes to anything we're talking about right now? I can say yes on our behalf, and we're going to move forward. None of you have the authority to do that because it's all going back to her. So until she actually sits down at this table, we're almost wasting each other's time, because everything we say yes to, you still got to bring back to her, and then you got to make sure that she says yes. That's a goofy way to negotiate.
Hey, y'all, this is the Maze Jackson Show. This has been man, I'm glad of this conversation. I look forward to continuing it and having it again. John,
sorry I couldn't be 15 minutes earlier.
See, look at you. I was like, what? The white dude late? I was about to start making all types of jokes. Can we get you to come back?
I told you I got black in my family. So you want to make jokes? I can make jokes too.
We all got black in our family. Everybody got black. We the root. Everybody got black in their family. Hey, so for Maze and Sonia and Ruthie and Todd, for John
Cantanzara.
Cantanzara.
Perfect.
For John Cantanzara, I am the host of the Maze Jackson Show, asking every single day, what's in it for the black people? And if you don't like it, you can still tell them. Maze said, we out of here. Peace.